And I think we are live actually right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rovers Chat Channel. Obviously, today we are going to be discussing the transfer deadline day, obviously, because that's essentially what the big day is, the 31st of January today. But obviously, of course, we have got a watch along as well. It's been a while since we've had one of those, at least about 6 months or so. But the Chris Kamara to my Jeff Stelling is to my side here. Mike, how are we doing? Obviously, you'll be watching the game today.
Yeah, just hoping for a good game, really. It's one of those today. It's like you don't know whether you want to win and carry on and get that Leicester game, or whether you just think, you know what, let's play some young lads. But obviously, the team lineup's just come out, hasn't it? So
yeah, oh yeah,
looks like
we can go through the
just
team
going to
now.
go through that now.
So we've got Ainsley Piers in there. I've made a little graphic. Ryan Costello,
Yep.
Ayala, Scott Wharton, Pickering, Travis as captain, obviously. Buckley, Dolan, Dak, Brereton, Diaz, and Vale. 5 changes in the team today. Kaminsky, Carter, Morton, Gallagher, and Hedges come out for Piers, Vale, Travis Dolan, and Ayala. What do you think of the team today?
It's surprised me a little bit. I thought he'd keep Kaminsky in. I really did. I think Kaminsky needs a little bit of confidence now. I just hope that this doesn't, kick him in the teeth a little bit. But it's a strong side. I mean, you've got to say Jack Vale's going to take his chances. Now he's getting a few starts, so I'd like to see Vale get plenty of chances. He did quite well against Norwich with his effort, as well as his goal. So yeah, let's hope that it's going to be a good one. I mean, they've gone pretty similar to what they had. They've gone quite strong.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I don't know how many changes they've had, especially because I'm not too familiar with most of the people in their team, really. Because it's such a, I didn't even realise that there was a player called James from until he scored the other day. Obviously, we will be speaking about transfers, but we've got all night to speak about that essentially while the game is going along. I don't have any access to the game, but Mike does. I think Scott will join us as well. This replay has really messed up this watch along because we were meant to have Dan and a couple of others, as well as potentially a couple of reporters as well from certain newspapers, but because obviously the game takes precedent and it's obviously more important because it's the reason why these players sign is to play football, and it's an obvious point really. In terms of like you say, form, I think Kaminsky probably does need a little bit of a run, but I think he probably does expect to be on the bench for most cup games, and Piers has done himself a lot of help, hasn't he, over the last couple of games. Nottingham Forest, I was quite harsh on him because I thought that the saves he made were quite easy, but the game against Norwich was probably his best game as a Blackburn goalkeeper, because he has had a couple of seasons where he's been a very hit and miss, and it's good to see him back. Well, why we paid for him, really.
I thought his positioning and his communication, you could really hear him in the Norwich game.
Yeah.
Because it was Carroll Rod was silent, wasn't it? You could hear everything, and all you could hear him was getting all the defenders where they needed to be, corners. He was in the right position, so he does deserve his chance. It's just obviously it's coming off the back of a few ropey moments from Kaminsky. The Bristol goal, he spilled it straight back into danger. The goals against Birmingham on Saturday, his positioning wasn't the best. And then obviously he's got a hand to the game as well, to the ball as well in the games. But yeah.
Do you think because there's been talk about us signing a goalkeeper potentially? We had the one that went to Bristol City, and maybe John Dahl prefers a different sort of keeper to Kaminsky. Do you think that's potentially in the back of his mind, or do you think it's just a case of a temporary dip in form?
the thing is with a goalkeeper, I think Ben Foster's on his podcast, he's been saying about how mental it is. You know, you've got, most people have like an ability up to here, but the difference is it's what's in the head is what makes the difference. And whether he's just going through a bit of a psychological, you know, issues at the moment with these mistakes that he's made, you know, it could be the fact that we've looked to bring in another keeper. You don't know what's being said behind closed doors, but, you know, like we've said, Kaminski's been one of our best players. I mean, I'm just looking at the lineups. We had, obviously, Morton's been dropped. Well, not necessarily dropped, but rested, say.
You
know, so it's going to be interesting to see now, you know, Buckley and Travis in that centre, how they do. I mean, who else has come into? Dolan's obviously starting. He's tricky. But Birmingham side, it does look extremely similar to what they had.
Yeah, and this team should be more than capable of beating Birmingham, to be honest with you. I think that we were unlucky not to be in the next round already. But look, Travis and Buckley last season were amazing for a long period of time. It's just obviously the classic February dip, which we are one day away, by the way. We're waiting for that impeding dip in form like we usually are. It's a nice break from the being in the playoffs. You know, it gets to February and we're back down to where people think we should be. But we'll just go through a few of the comments. 3 a.m. phone box chicken put this. We all know no one is coming in tomorrow. Well, you might be wrong with that one. Well, you are wrong, essentially. We'll speak about the transfers as well. Obviously, we've got until Rich Sharp and Elliot Jackson basically say that's it for tonight, as well as the watch along. Pete Cosgrove, excitingly, 2 Forest players were linked with. Yes, obviously, Lewis O'Brien as well as Steve Cook, which Harley Johnson says it as well. So Cook's off apparently. I don't think there was much meat behind that one. It was just a tenuous link that it's Twitter, innit? One person with a fake blue tick and it can spiral into madness, can't it? Essentially, I think.
Exactly.
But O'Brien is clear for his medical. We'll speak about him in a bit, but I think he was the best centre mid in the league last season, never mind for Huddersfield, and to get him on loan is amazing. Kaminski deservedly gone. I think you're probably right, but I think he was always going to be not in this team today. I think Piers was unlucky not to be playing in the last game, to be fair. Interesting if we go with interesting we got O'Brien. Still need a forward though. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see who we're going to be linked with in the next couple of hours, to be fair. What sort of striker do you think we need?
I think, the old fox in the box is what we used to call them. Just someone that's got that killer instinct like Rhodes. You know, Rhodes was just always in the right place at the right time. You know, Gested works well with him because he knew exactly where Rhodes would be. You know, coming front post, near post, going far post, whatever he needed to do, he did it. And we haven't got that at the moment. Like you see the wingers bombing down, and this is, what JDT played, at Molds. He's got all these wingers bombing down. You look in the box, and you might have Tyrese Dolan, 5 foot of Tyrese Dolan in the box.
Yeah, you got Gallagher crossing it in, yeah.
Exactly. I'd just like to see a striker, proper fox in the box. Danny Graham did that job really well, and we've missed that style of striker.
An experienced one that's not going to run like a headless chicken. I think you're absolutely right. I think we need a clinical finisher, which is difficult because most of the Prem sides you're looking at today, they're all going after one striker, and a lot of Prem sides need a striker, so it filters down straight away to the Championship. Potentially, Adam Armstrong's one that I've seen linked today. I know it's Twitter, linked is tenuous again, but be interesting to see if that has anything behind it. Gareth Devlin says Piers deserves a chance. We need all the players to compete in the position. No one should be given a guaranteed start. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And he has, credit to him. He has shown up in the couple of games he's had this season. Surprised Wharton starting, was expecting Carter to stay. Don't mind though, solid lineup. I think Wharton being in today is because he's not going to start in the Championship at the weekend, so you might as well use him today. Rest the other ones for the weekend. Who have we got on the weekend, by the way? Do we? I should probably know that, shouldn't I?
It's coming up to Wigan, isn't it?
Is it Wigan? Oh, is that?
I know.
That's on Monday, right? Okay. So there's quite a bit of a gap from now till the next game, the 6th of Feb. Yeah.
I mean, are you bothered about tonight? If we're being honest.
Yeah, come on. Is it really? Is it
a priority for us? Yeah, I mean, we said it before the Norwich game, didn't we? It was like, you know what? If we need to take a beating and just go and concentrate on the league, we haven't got the squad to deal with a cup run. You know, I kind of worry if we did win this going into the Leicester game without any extra backup. You know, we need to be concentrating on the league.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'm just covering my back in case we lose.
Yeah. What is your prediction for the game? Because they've got.
I've said 1-0 Jack Vale win. 1-0 win with Jack Vale scoring. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the game at the moment. It's not coming on.
Adam says hi. I'm sorry. Come on, Rovers. I say 3-1 win, and we need a new forward if Diaz leaves at the end of the season. I think it's more of he will leave rather than if. Villarreal are heavily linked, aren't they, to pre-contract, which they can do at any point. Never mind today. They can do it at any point in the next few months. Probably. I mean, either way, if Blackburn go up or not, I think Villarreal probably are a bigger squad than Blackburn. I think that's an easy thing to say. It's a calm take. Harley says, big Sam Sturridge up top. I think it'd be hard though, as he's starting to get a run of games at Forest. Yeah, I think it's like take your pick of Forest players because they got about 50 of them, so it's just like a lucky dip at that point. And yeah, Adam Armstrong would make sense. Southampton have just signed that guy from Genk. Yeah, he's got an interesting name, hasn't he? Is it what's his name now? Let's have a look. Southampton. In fact, it doesn't matter, does it? But yeah, if anybody's joined in the last 5 minutes, so we've got Mike on the watch along, and also we'll be speaking about the obvious. Yeah, that's the one. Unachu, or something. Yeah, the game tonight is worth a couple $100,000. I'd take a cup game with extra funds. I feel like if we went out, then the pressure is on the team to get top 6. Yeah, so it's a very valid point.
I get that. Yeah,
I think you
line the pockets a bit more.
I think you get 110 grand or 120 grand for winning this round, and then is it the next round you get up to 200? So
there's a chance that you're going to get on TV as well, which is going to give you a bit of extra.
Yeah. What are the actual? Because the FA Cup draw wasn't that great, was it? It was just there wasn't the one that probably hooked you in terms of an actual tie. I'll just have a look at the FA Cup fixtures. Bit of a quick turnaround, this, isn't it? Really. Just have a look at it now. Man United, West Ham. That's probably the biggest tie of them all. Other than that, they all include either a lower league side or on one or both. So there's half a chance we could be on TV because they'll have 4 games, won't they? So Adam Rona says, see if Chelsea want to loan us Datro Fofana. Yeah, he signed from Molde, didn't he? Recently. So but they're signing everyone as well. I think we should just get into the actual signings today. So first and foremost, we got Lewis O'Brien from Forest. It's a good start. We've got he mainly plays in centre midfield. Like I said, he probably was one of the best centre midfielders last season for Huddersfield, and look at where they are now when he's not in the team. Essentially, his contract runs out in 2026, so he's just on loan at the minute, and he's got an option to buy for 10 million if Blackburn get promoted. It seems like a win-win essentially on that front. What's your thoughts on this? Because obviously Blackburn need a centre midfielder. Who do you think he would be replacing in that team?
I'd like him to come in for Morton, but I just think that, you know, Morton's got in his contract that he has to play. But you've got to say that Morton seems to be the weak link at the moment in that centre mid. But can he play with Morton? I mean, what type of midfield is JDT looking for?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to know his style of play, isn't it, at the minute, because it's so Jekyll and Hyde this season. It's you can't properly analyze any game because you know within the first 10 minutes if we're going to win or not. And then up until recently, it was either a win or a loss. So that was the biggest question of the season so far, I think. But I think signing Lewis O'Brien is a massive coup for us. I think that he's probably worth about, what does it say here? His transfer market value is 8 million. So to get him for 10 potentially with another season is probably about right, I think. Bradley Sturton, sorry. I'd love to go for Tom Kearney, who rarely gets a start now, and others can fill his place on the bench. Brings a bit of experience of both promotion and Prem. I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, but I think that his contract would be huge at Fulham compared to what we can afford. Craig W says, don't really care for cup, rather concentrate on the league. Yeah. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks to see if this has paid off, really. Has the game kicked off?
Probably has, but it's not working for me at the moment. I'm just trying to get it working.
We are underway. It's about 5-6 seconds ago. Again, I'll say it a few times tonight. The whole replay all of a sudden 2 days after, 3 days after, has really messed up the watch along or the transfer news today. I think there's a video coming out about Lewis O'Brien when that happens. Obviously, another player that signed for us in this winter break was Sorba Thomas, 24 years old, 6 assists this season already for Huddersfield in a really poor team. We saw him at Blackburn, how poor they were. Market value 5 million, plays right wing, attacking mid, left wing as well. This is very versatile, one that is very ideal for depth as well. Do you think he would replace Hedges, or do you think he's a sort of a plan B sort of player?
No, I think they brought him in to play him. I really do. Like you say, I mean, he's been fantastic for Huddersfield last year. It seems like he lost his head. I mean, I know some Huddersfield fans and they were saying he was brilliant, you know, but he just seems to have gone off the boil. So I think he's brought him in. I mean, I can't see him being brought in to be a plan B. You know, I think, could it mean that Markanday's out on loan? Not too sure. Obviously, there's a few hours to go. But you've got Dolan, you've got Brereton Diaz, you've got Hedges, or, you know, even Sam Gallagher obviously plays on the wing. I think he's brought him in to actually, you know, start play.
And obviously he was chosen ahead of Hedges in the Wales team. He got 1 minute of action in the World Cup, which is I mean, it's 1 more minute than 99% of people, but it's just, I mean, I think it was either going to be Sorba Thomas or Hedges in that team. It adds his pace adds a real dynamic change to the. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. His pace is very valuable in this in this team. Is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, Dolan has a bit of pace, doesn't he? But he seems quite lightweight on that regard, and it seems to be an upgrade on any of the wingers that we currently do have. If we do get that striker as well as Lewis O'Brien, because I mean that's essentially been confirmed, then it'll be a very, very good transfer deadline day. You spoke about Markandé. I think he has been linked, and Peter has said that he's having a medical at Aberdeen at the minute. He obviously wasn't in the team travelling down to Birmingham, and I think that I think a lot of people are going to be annoyed about this because they saw the glimpses of what he can do at Norwich when he obviously the game at Rotherham didn't go right in any regard, but he was the only bright spark in that game. And I think that with Sorba Thomas coming in right now, I think Markande needs to go out on loan rather than sit on the bench, because his time at there be a lot more valuable than what it currently is now under 23s and a cameo once every 5 games. It's not going to work out for him, and I think in the long run it will. Where are Aberdeen in the league?
Well, haven't they got Clarkson this year? Clarkson.
They do. Aberdeen.
And Leighton Clarkson, I think, hasn't been playing for him.
Oh, really? Yeah, he was very lightweight, weren't he, last season? The seventh in the league at the minute, which is mid-table, which is odd to say. Not really doing much. A couple of points off Livingston in 4th, which is a Europa Conference League spot. I don't know if that's yeah, that's about it. Who else? Who's the manager there now? Let's have a look. Adam Ronan said it's not on TV. No, it's not on TV. But we're trying to find a sort of
source, so to speak.
A magical. Bradley says I could be wrong, but hasn't Thomas been used as a wing back in recent games? So that could be a JRC/Pickering change at times. I mean, if we're going to divulge into the Huddersfield team, you can't really, because they've been so poor as of late, and he's not been performing probably as well as he should be this season. And I mean, being at right winger back is probably the reason why. Granted, it's depth in that position as well, and his versatility again is something that can't be unsaid. They lost to a 6th. Oh, they did. Yes, they did. What was that team called? Aberdeen. In fact, they just sacked the manager, didn't they? So I don't know who's making this decision.
Darvel. It was Darvel. Jeez.
Manager just got sacked at Aberdeen. Yes, Darvel. Yeah, you're right. Darvel in the East or West of Highlands League. I don't know what the comparison would be with the English leagues, but it must be like North West County with Darvel. So yeah, it's got to be the biggest upset in Scottish history. Chris says we are too lightweight in midfield. We need a solid, no-nonsense centre mid. I don't think that's the way that JDT plays, though. I think that he prefers his sort of ball-playing, lighter, more attacking centre midfielders. Obviously, it has shown up now and again this season how poor we are in that centre midfielder. So I think Lewis O'Brien will be the link between the two. Just trying to get an update on the game. Anything happened?
Nothing at the moment.
Nothing. Okay.
So it's on ESPN Plus, and it's not actually showing on ESPN Plus.
Oh.
They're showing Wolfsburg. I can tell you what's happening with Wolfsburg.
Oh yeah, what's going on at Wolfsburg? Who plays for Wolfsburg now?
I don't know, but we need a striker, so we see if there's one that was worthwhile.
Remember Granit?
Winning 1-0. Wolfsburg are winning 1-0.
Was it Granit and Dzeko that scored like 50 goals between them when they won the league back in 2007 or something? Daniel Heck, do you remember that Jordi Gomez free kick against MK Dons in 2016? I think it was. He scored a banger and it was the winner. That is it. I actually don't, to be fair, do you?
So that, yeah. I remember things with Jordi Gomez. I just remember not being bothered about him signing. He actually had a decent spell, didn't he?
He was in that. He was in the Lambert season, weren't he? From what I remember.
That's not working either.
Apparently, they won 3-2 at Ewood. That's good knowledge of a random. Wonder when Adam Ronan says we need a pacey striker as well, which is
we
just
I
need
completely agree.
Give us any
somewhat
striker.
An intelligent, pacey striker. I'd be desperate for something like that. I did actually think, would Adam Armstrong be something that we could actually go and get? Because he doesn't seem to be playing that often for Southampton. They're not exactly firing at the moment. I don't think any of the Premier League teams would want him. So would there have been a potential deal to be made there, or is it a case of once he's done, he's done? Get him out the door, get him, and he's forgotten about.
And under a new manager at Southampton, maybe he doesn't prefer him, but it would. I wasn't too bothered about Adam Armstrong leaving at the time, but I've watched him recently for Southampton against City when they won. He was actually really impressive with his. Not just obviously he was good at his shooting and his, his ability on the ball, but off the ball, I seem to be very impressed with how he's developed that at Southampton. And yeah, if we can get him on loan, that would be crucial for this season. I think obviously we'll go on to one that we did lose this this transfer window, and it was George Hurst. So obviously it was a foregone conclusion he was going to be leaving. I'm guessing you were disappointed with George Hurst this season.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if he'd scored that penalty, it would have made a massive difference for his confidence. Like we're saying about Kaminsky and his confidence, think about a striker's confidence. Coming in last minute against Cardiff, one of your only touches and you're taking a penalty and you get saved, that's just going to crush him. Young lads, it was a step up for him coming to us, if we're being honest, because he wasn't really playing at Leicester. So it was a real chance for him to, make a name for himself. And what's he done? He's gone and missed a penalty. I mean, I thought he looked all right with his movement. He seemed to make quite a lot of effort, but it just didn't go for him. If we don't bring a striker in, then I'll be disappointed that we've got rid of him and not brought anyone in, because he was a body that we could have brought on. I want Jack Vale to do well. I want him to play and I want him to do well. But is he actually going to take his chance? I mean, I hope today's, he's going to take an opportunity and bang in a goal, because I think most people are in agreement that Sam Gallagher's not, the next level for us. I mean, one thing I was going to bring up was, you look at our squads, and when you're looking at a squad that's going up or in potential of being promoted, you normally look around and you'll see one or two Prem level players in that squad, maybe a few top quality Championship. I look in our squad and I just don't feel like we've got that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look around us, if we was to do a tier system of our squad, how many would be Prem ready?
Yeah, let us know in the comments if there's anybody in this Rovers team right now, because I'll get a little list up here. I think before the last few games, I think you could have argued Kaminsky, but he seems to have, like we said previously when we were talking about peers, he's gone off the boil a little bit. So we've got Kaminsky, maybe Callum Britton, no. We'll go through the team because we've got enough time, haven't we? Pickering, no. Ayala, no. Hyam, no. Brereton Diaz on his day. I'm just looking at the team overall, and I think you're completely right. I think we've got a very good Championship team, but if we go up, I'll be worried. I think we're about 2 seasons off. Harley Johnson says Hedges maybe on his day as well, but how many Championship players how many Championship teams have those players on their day that are good? And you need a bit more consistency. Adam Ronan says, "Do you think George Hurst is making a living off his dad's name?" Yep, it seems that way. I think he had a poor game for Ipswich as well on his debut, so it hasn't been a good season for him this one. Pretty sure Hurst was recalled up top. We definitely need Armstrong-esque player, someone to latch the ball onto a through ball with some pace. I'd like to see where Leonard is at in his progression. He's still young, isn't he? But obviously that doesn't really mean a thing. Blackburn have had a free kick saved, apparently. Dak.
Well, I'm still working on this link.
Still working on the watch along.
Yeah.
Bro, I just checked the stats at 50-50 possession, and we have 8 throw-ins. Good game so far. Yeah, you're right. 15 minutes in, 8 throw-ins. I mean, I saw something the other day that somebody put a bet among my mates that was over something like 30.5 throw-ins. I didn't even know you could do that on a bet.
Yeah, you can, but it's not normally great odds.
No. Yeah, Armstrong's wages will be high at Southampton, so could we really realistically afford him? Saints would want most of his wages covering, or a good percentage at least. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, and that's with the most case in for Premier League players, and they're going to be on a lot more wage than we can afford. We seem to have a third person now join us. Scott, how are we doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, we've got a watch along here without a watch along.
Yeah, well, I've also got it in me here. I'm listening to Elliot Bennett now, commentating on the game.
Oh, right, okay.
I was relying on ESPN Plus, and it's not on there apparently.
I was the same.
Everyone advertised it as being on ESPN Plus, and it's not actually showing. We've got Union Berlin that are now 1-1 with Wolfsburg.
Oh, nice. We'll do a watch along with that instead. Come on, who scored?
And all the FA Cup stuff obviously has been put to one side. So,
fishing, gardening, and travelling. I'd like to know in which order. Are we close to signing anyone? Like I said a few times in this stream already, that the fact that there is a game right now means that we don't particularly get that many updates in terms of signings, but we'll let you know as soon as we do. How's the Wolfsburg game going?
I've turned it off now. I've gone back to transfer deadline day.
Oh, okay.
The real thing. I've got some minions looking for their link for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I won't ask any more questions about that.
Yes,
we have a striker in Diaz, but he spends most of the time chasing back and defending, or touching the line. To be honest with you, I don't think he's a striker, is he? He's more of a winger, but he could play up top. I don't think he.
Well, I don't think he's Diaz this year, is he?
No,
he's done well, but he's not quite hit the heights of the start of last year.
I think, majority of what I've heard and what I've read today has been, a lot of comments regarding the striker, obviously. But the way I see it is, we're looking for a striker to replace Joe Schurst. Now, he wasn't much of a striker to begin with, so have we really lost anything? Are we still in the same position as we were when we started on day one? I think we are.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that, letting go of, Hurst has probably been the easiest decision of Blackman's season so far. I think he had one yellow card in this time, which sums it up. Danny Goal channel, nice to have a live chat today. Come on, Brewson. He's off scoring for a while. He is, yeah. I can't actually remember last time he scored. Let's have a look. Can you remember that? Daniel says, "Can we get LaCroix in from Wolfsburg? How is he playing?"
Should we do a watch along on that?
Yeah. Let's have a. What's the stats saying in the Rovers game? Have we had any more than 8 throw-ins?
Yeah, so we are looking at that. So apparently we've had 2 dangerous attacks to their 1. 2 attacks to their 1, one of which was dangerous. So I'm guessing the other one was a defender just streaming forward.
Yeah.
But the only shot has actually come from Blues, apparently.
We've just had a close attempt on Birmingham's goal.
Right.
Travis crossed the ball in, and Dak just missed to get in on the end of it.
The last time Brereton Diaz scored was against Huddersfield, on the 5th of. It was before the World Cup, essentially. He hasn't scored since. He's had 3 assists since then against Preston, Norwich, and Cardiff. But yeah, off the boil a little bit, I'd say.
I think in the games that Bradley Dack's played since the World Cup, I think he's only like 3 behind Brereton on his goal scoring front.
Oh, really? Obviously, I've asked Mike, but what do you think of the Lewis O'Brien signing today? Because it's basically confirmed, isn't it? Scott?
Yeah, Sky Sports have confirmed it anyway.
Yeah.
Sky Sports have apparently confirmed it, but still waiting for obviously the club to announce anything. I think it's a good signing. You know, we said in the early stages of the window, you know, we needed an experienced head in midfield. And I think he adds that to our midfield, and I think that's exactly what we needed in there.
Other than a striker, is there any other position that you think we would need this season to improve the squad? Obviously, if you be realistic, obviously, because you can say Messi and that would improve it, but realistically, do you think there's any position now other than striker?
Just a little update for you. Harry Pickering has just had an attempt on goal. Took a little deflection and was just saved.
I just saw something in the chat and I thought it was a goal. I don't think it is though. Was this for the shot? Oh my god, yes. Right, that's about Real.
I was going to say there's no goal yet because I have got something that is really up to date, and it's not showing a goal. It says that we are attacking there.
Brilliant.
Which makes a change, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, true. Just going to do a quick update on the Wolfsburg game. It's still 1-1. Robin Nock scored for Union Berlin, and Luca Waldschmidt for Wolfsburg. And this is the content you're here for. I'm obsessed with Brereton, and you don't know his transfer situation. We do. We know that he's been. Oh, about the guy in the chat. Okay. Well, some people just aren't glued into the news, I suppose, which is fine. No judgment.
So I've just found a link to say that they were going to play Birmingham Blackburn game, but they've decided to go for Union Berlin Wolfsburg as a last-minute change.
Brilliant.
So do they not realise that Rovers Chat needed this? I'm going to complain to ESPN and give them the "don't you know who we are" kind of
How many people do you think are complaining? There's at least one.
How many viewers have the Wolfsburg Chat got?
Yeah, exactly.
They've let us down, boys.
Daniel
to all
Heck
the viewers.
Says, we can get Jordan Rhodes in, barely getting any starts for Huddersfield. I'm being real here. He has been mentioned. I think, Mike, you mentioned him, didn't you, earlier on? And we seem to be getting a lot of ex-Huddersfield or Huddersfield players, so we can make it a triple threat. That's absolutely fine.
I think the thing is, we're getting when you start getting realistic about who we can and can't sign. You look at when we last got promoted. You know, we had. I mean, if you think about under Souness, obviously we still had a bit of a Premiership undertone, but we had some top quality players there. You had it, but you mixed it in with experience, and that's what we don't have now. We don't have that top quality experience. And we don't have that top tier level players. And that's why I'm not really moaning about the JDT tenure at the moment. He's still working off a squad that was kind of given to him. We've got to give him a chance to actually build. I think the disappointing thing is this window does seem like it's been a bit wasted so far. Obviously, we might have some quality signings today, but ultimately, is this his formation yet? Is this how he wants to play? Is it horses for courses? Is he come in, looked at the squad and thought, right, I can't get them doing what I want them to do, so we're going to carry on doing, the job that Tony Mowbray was doing, and then next summer we'll have a look. And we don't want to waste money bringing in players just yet and paying a premium in January when we haven't got much to spend.
Yeah,
so it could be a sensible, it could be a frustrating window, but a sensible window.
Yeah, I think you've just said it there. I think it's easy to get ahead of yourself in the January window. It's easy to say we need a striker, and we do, but when you stuck in a January window, you've got strikers are expensive. You've got if you're going to buy a striker, you need money, and we don't have money.
So who wants to get rid of their good strikers at the moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
stuck in that predicament, aren't you?
There's always a premium in January as well, like you said. And look at Chelsea right now, they're signing Enzo Fernandez for 130 million euros, whereas in the summer they probably could spend 50 million on him. I know a lot of Liverpool fans who are screaming to sign Bellingham right now for 100 million, but you could sign him for 70, 80 in the summer. It's just about waiting, holding off, and being sensible. But that is boring. Let's just sign players for 100 million. Why not? Let's just bankrupt the team. We'll have fun while we're doing it. We'll just do a Leeds in 2003.
You just want to unveil someone on live on Rovers Chat, Dom.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking news, yeah.
We're getting no updates from any of the people at the minute because obviously there's a game going on. And Peter Cosgrove, I'm watching the action on Sky Bet 365 while listening to you guys. Shows dangerous attacks. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
What is a dangerous attack? Is it like one? Is it? You could be like 30 yards out and it be counted as a dangerous attack, can't you?
Well, it's not when Sam Gallagher has the ball. We know that.
So okay, boys, it's fine. It says a bit like Football Manager in 1982. Yeah, I remember the Football Manager back in the 2006 one. It was just a 2D dot and just running around.
So mine was Championship Manager 0102.
Yes,
I'd take over Blackburn. You had Matt Jansen in the side. It was brilliant. You bought Maxim Tiscalgo.
Yes,
got all the goals. It was amazing. You'd win everything them first couple of seasons, and you felt like Blackburn were the best in the world.
There was that one from Millwall as well. I can't remember his name.
Cherno Samba.
That's exactly. Synonymous.
I know them all.
So have you had the recent ones as well, or did you just stick it to?
No, yeah. I mean, I've had them all, to be honest. I work in IT, so you do get a little bit of downtime now and again. So you have a little play on the game. Start signing some world-class strikers. Something that we can't necessarily do ourselves.
Some 15-year-old from Colombia.
I think the issue is nowadays though is people do look at Football Manager, they look at FIFA, and they think that's how football actually is. The transfer market's like that. I do think that we've got someone good in Greg Broughton now. I do think he's going to be sensible. As much as the Venkies have been slated across the years, and rightly so for the decisions they made at the start, they are funding us. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Kieran Maguire, the price of football guy, and he was talking about how much the Venkies have to put in every week. I think it's something like £500,000 a week to keep us going. It's a ridiculous amount, so you've got that, and then people are kind of expecting us to go and spend 10 million on a striker when effectively we're still suffering from the League One issues. The fact that we went down, we had to completely start again. We got lucky with Dak. If we're being honest, we have got lucky, getting a signing like that. But we can't keep pulling rabbits out the hats with signings like that. So I do think that they are the right men to sort it. But you just kind of hope we get a couple of loans in to tide us over until the summer. Keep us in the hunt rather than us suffering and gradually moving down the league and we all end up disappointed.
You seem to have a fan, by the way, Mike. Big fan of the new lad in the middle talking with the headset. Is it the headset that makes you look more professional, do you think?
I'm trying to. It's the shiny head that's getting me. I might need to sort the light out. Look at that. That is disgraceful.
You need like a John Motson coat as well, would you?
Pretty sure everyone needs to start wearing sunglasses to watch us, boys. You two look like Teen Wolf compared to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can shave my head if you want.
Yeah.
Well, just pass the time.
This is a
Pass the time until 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Do one hair a minute and then go from there.
It looks like we're doing quite decent against Blues. I did think Blues were really going to come into us.
You just wait until we recall Dan Butterworth to fill the striking role.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm really.
How's he been doing?
Dom will know. I think he's got a poster of him in his bedroom.
I've got Danny with me in the room right now. Let's have a look what he's been doing. Like I haven't already searched it 4 times today. He's still at Port Vale, so we can go from that.
So I've made some notes today, boys. Let's hear your thoughts on a couple of things. So, are you worried about how we're cozying up with the likes of Liverpool, and playing the likes of Leighton Clarkson last year and Morton this year? Are you concerned that we're doing that, or do you think we should just be saying to these big clubs, no, we're paying a lot of money to keep our youth centres open? I mean, it's something like £5 million a year it cost us. We should just be using ours and not using yours. I mean, we got lucky with Harvey Elliott, but what do you think? Do you think we are cozying up a bit too much?
Potentially, and I think that when we get into the Premier League, I don't think they'll use us, or we can use them. I think that it probably does stunt our centre midfielders, especially up the likes of Morton this season, and Adam Wharton and Garrett not getting as much time as probably they would have liked. But I think long term it probably does have a detriment on it. And I think the fact that we are spending 3 to 5 million each season on, and then just almost wasting it on Liverpool loanees to this regard is probably, it is a little bit of a worry. But in the same regard, we probably do need him as well, because. I mean, we without Morton, I know he has been off the, he's not been performing well recently. But other than that, I think he probably has been our best centre midfielder this season. So I don't know where we'd be without him this season, or good or bad. But I think that, essentially, I just sat on the fence for 5 minutes then, didn't I? But I'm worried for being I'll say
true pro. That is not answering the question. Yeah. So you're kind of.
I say again, that's why his pod is called Talking Nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, what's your thoughts, Scott? I mean, I felt like I like taking players on loan. I do. If they look like they're going to be ones that are either absolute top quality, like your Harvey Elliott's, or it looks like they could sign for us. When it's someone like a Clarkson last year, and who obviously didn't do well, and Morton this year, who's, like we're saying, a bit off the boil, we're not going to have a chance of signing these players. So you're basically using them for the ability they are now, not the ability they are in 5-6 years' time.
Absolutely.
So what's your thoughts on it?
I'm one. Like Dom said, it's easy to sit on the fence. I think we need to rely on loans because of the money situation. But I think, especially with the change in manager and near enough all of the backroom staff, but these people have come in this window not knowing much about our academy players, not knowing much about our Adam Whartons or, Jake Garrett or Ash Phillips, and have made decisions in that summer window. Probably, with not a lot of time to make them, And would they maybe change those decisions now if they could? Possibly. But I think, going forward, I think you'll start to see a lot more of our academy players over maybe, the likes of, the later Clarksons and maybe even Tyler Mortons. Because I think, Tyler Morton is so similar to Adam Morton for me. I don't think there's a lot of difference between them. But
I was about to say that. It's like I've seen, you look at Adam Wharton and you look at Jake Garrett, and I've seen them probably do more than Morton in some games. But yet, Morton's being pushed a bit more, and whether that's to protect our young players. You look at Ash Phillips. Ash Phillips looked like he was ready to play near enough every game. But he hasn't, and is he doing that to so-called protect him? I've never fully understood the whole protector player, but maybe we are trying to protect them by bringing in Morton and letting him play over. But I mean, who would have thought this year that Wharton was going to, come into being the player he has? He seemed to be, someone that had potential, but actually this year he looks like he's a mid-table championship player pushing on with the potential to make good.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to both our previous recruitment team and our current recruitment team. We're making these good signings to, the current recruitment team have signed obviously Dom Hyam, who was obviously probably one of the best signings that we've made in centre backs in recent time, and obviously the previous recruitment team signed the likes of Tyrese Dolan, and both Tyrese and Adam have both made the young players of the years or whatever, and I think it's good to see our under 21s getting into those 21 players of under 21. To be in the top 21 players that are under the age of 21, I think it shows it's great for the club.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we can't take credit for Dolan's developments because he's come straight from Preston and he seemed to just hit the first team and that was it. Yeah, we will take credit for it.
No credit can go to Preston under any circumstances.
No.
But I mean, I'm looking at the players we've been linked with. I still don't know where Broughton and JDT are looking to, where they feel like they need to. We've been linked to a goalkeeper, centre back, centre forward, a left back, midfielders. He obviously just wants to improve completely all around the squad, but doesn't want to be held to ransom to do it.
I have a little bit of a theory. It's a wild one though.
Go on.
What?
I'm actually starting to wonder whether the likes of JDT actually put some of the rumours out there himself.
It's not the wildest of suggestions,
especially with some of the comments that he's made in in some of his interviews, alluding to saying that he said that he found it entertaining sitting watching all the rumours come flying out, and 95% being utter nonsense.
Yeah.
And sometimes he said himself, some might be true, some won't be true.
I think the difficult thing is for JDT and Broughton is the level that they're now playing at compared to what they have done. So you've got John Dodd Thompson, who's played with Maldini, Kaka, and now he's got the likes of Hyam and Dak. It's as much as we love them, it is a come down. So I think there's got to be a bit of adaptation there, so to understand the league, and maybe the appointment should have been someone that was more experienced in the Championship, that knew the kind of players and so on to get out. But I do think that they are making the correct decisions at the moment. I mean, Hurst, say we'd bought Hurst for $2 million, everyone would be slating him now. but he had the wherewithal to give him the loan first and make a decision. Didn't work out, cancelled the loan. There's no issue. So I do think they're making sensible decisions. As frustrating as it is that we want to see loads of breaking news.
Yeah, I've just been looking at news and remembering that there's been a few people in the chat mention obviously a fan favourite, Jean-Paul Van Heck. Scott has mentioned it as well as Ryan. He's obviously he's had a couple of games recently, but more cameos. I think he's had one start this season, and going on to that, we've obviously been linked with Steve Cook and Ryan Porteous, who was we actually put a bid in for him during the season. Obviously, a centre back is probably priority on their behalf. Would you? Obviously, it's a stupid question, but obviously Van Heck, would you have him in the team now, or how much do you think we could bid for him essentially?
I think he's worth a lot now for us. Well, I don't think we could afford him.
No,
I don't think we could afford him either. I think before he made those, appearances, for Brighton, I think there was a chance of him not signing a new contract for Brighton because they knew that, that was one of his frustrations, that he wasn't getting any chances at Brighton. But now that he's starting to get chances, he may sign a new contract.
Yeah, I think there probably was a natural progression under Potter but obviously he left, and when De Zerbi came in, I thought there was a potential of us getting him, but like you said, the last couple of games he has been appearing, even though the Liverpool game he played for about 5 seconds. Ryan Edwards has said that Porteous got to Watford. I think it was about 500k. Probably something we could afford, but obviously they didn't see enough value in that for him at the time. He's 23 years old.
I mean, he probably would have chosen Watford over us if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So if it was a flat rate, because he has the opportunity to go to Udinese, doesn't he? Because they're obviously linked together. Watford's being, the shining lights of London. He could live there and go in there. So you've got to say that he's probably always going to pick Watford over us if we're being realistic.
Are you suggesting that London is a better place to live than Blackburn?
I'm not suggesting that at all. I actually can't stand going to London, to be honest.
No, neither can I. I went to a gig to see the Chili Peppers at the West Ham Stadium, and first of all, the gig was a letdown because they have a massive discography, and I wanted them to play other songs that they didn't play. But London is manic. It's just nobody just needs to relax. I remember I drove through it and it went to yellow rather than green, and it was getting called a wanker and everything. I was just
so they know you then.
Yeah, well, touche.
No, it's like that, isn't it? I mean, I'm obviously don't live up north anymore. I'm actually just half hour, shy of Birmingham, and when I go into Birmingham, it stresses me out, let alone going into London.
Yeah, Birmingham can be like that, especially the Bullring and other parts in the centre.
What do you fellas make of Markande and his transfer rumour?
Yeah, so we spoke about it briefly, didn't we? And I think that he's obviously going up to Aberdeen. I don't think we actually spoke about how we felt. We just sort of said about it. I think. Oh no, we did. We said that he needs the time. I don't know whether the SPL is the right league for him. I think League One would probably be a bit better standard for him right now. Although they are quite similar. Aberdeen, that was it. They lost to Darvel, didn't they, recently? A team in some forest somewhere. So I think it's good. It's good for everyone. Good for Aberdeen. Good for Markande. Good for Blackburn. I think that his time will be next season rather than this one.
Yeah.
So Leighton Clarkson's there on loan at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I mean, that's a come down, isn't it, for him? And
it's probably his level, to be fair.
Yeah, he's played 23 games, got 5 goals and 2 assists. I mean, that's I think I'd back myself to go up and do that. You know.
You sound like you're underwater now, or is that just my...
Oh, sorry, I think.
It's all right.
Is that better?
Yeah, cheers. London is London is good for a night out, and that's it. We could talk about nights out. When Manchester and Liverpool, they're decent for a night out, to be fair. I'm not sure. I've never been to London. Obviously, it's clearly a massive area. What do you think your best? What do you think the best city is for a night out?
Go on, Scott. You go first.
I wouldn't know.
You're only 16, really, aren't you?
Blackburn.
I just don't go
You're
anywhere.
like Wolfie out the in-betweeners. You're only 16. I like Bristol. I think Bristol's a cracking night out.
Bristol. Yeah.
I've been there a few times. Never had a bad night.
No. I went just before the whole COVID mess, and it was actually it was a decent night out, to be fair. I don't mind Leeds. That's all right. The strip there is decent. Manchester's also. Liverpool's probably better than Manchester, especially Concert Square. That's a decent area, Liverpool. Apparently, you're called Headset Guy. We won't discuss your actual name. Headset Guy. You seem like you're around in the Premier League days. We all were, weren't we? No?
Yeah. Well, so I was born in '83. So I'm nearly 40. So, yeah, I got to witness some of the best Blackburn days around.
Oh, right, okay.
I went to the 92 playoff final. So, I mean, this is aging me now. So I went to the 92 playoff final. I've been to the League Cup final. Yeah, and saw us win the league. So, yeah, I don't deserve Blackburn to do anything again. You know, I've witnessed it all now. So I've went to the FA Cup semi-finals. But I just like the fact I'm being called Headset Guy.
Headset Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first game?
Roy Wegley scored. I think it was against Newcastle.
Right.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was before Ewood was done. So that's how old I am. It was before Ewood was done.
Saying the best days.
Yeah, I'm really lucky to have experienced it.
Somebody who's near 39, so I'm old too. Headset Guy, yeah. We've got a few shouts of.
I think next time we do a preview or anything, Dan's going to put a Headset Guy on the bottom of the screen.
It's because the kids have gone to bed. You see, I had to make sure that I could actually hear rather than having it on a speaker.
So we've got a few shouts of. Nights out. Leeds, I enjoy Leeds.
Yeah, Leeds
longest I've spent in London is 10 minutes, 9 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Kevin must be in
the red light district.
Yeah. I've heard Bristol was he's contradicting you, Headset Guy. I think he needs to have a word with you.
Well, you've heard different now, haven't you?
Yeah. Who do I trust? To be fair, that Headset I trust any day. So Belfast and Bournemouth are the best nights out in the UK. I've heard Belfast is just Dublin but cheaper, which is better essentially, because Dublin's crazy expensive. Newcastle is a good night out. I think it gets a lot of hype. Yes, it gets a lot of hype, doesn't it, Newcastle? Probably because of Geordie Show and everything. But my first game was in '94. When was your first game, Scott? Scott.
Sorry, what was that?
Pause button on
When was your? He's really thinking about his first game.
Oh, my first game.
Yeah.
My first game was a testimonial at Ewood for Tony Parks.
When was that? What year? Oh, 2000. When was that? Sorry.
I could not tell you the year.
Right.
Say that one again. Sorry, Scott. Someone was just giving me an interesting fact, which I'll tell you and say, what was that again, Scott?
It was a testimonial for Tony Parks at Ewood. And to this day, it's still be the weirdest game I've ever seen Rovers play Rovers.
Yeah.
Either way, you were going to win. And lose.
2005, it says it was 7-3. So I mean, you're not going to get much better than a 7-3, really.
You're getting bang for your buck on that one. So that's 3-1 in '94 against Villa. I went to that as well.
Oh yeah, where was that?
Yeah.
Where was that comment?
That's one. I think it was. Was it?
Oh, Ryan says it's game of '94. I mean, to have your first game in '94.
Villa's bogey side around then. We used to beat them all the time. But when I went back to school, because I was near Birmingham, all the Villa fans were just constantly going on about how brilliant they were. 1982 winning the European Cup. We won the Premier League in this time, and they still went on about it. So here's a little interesting fact, courtesy of BBC Radio. Blues are 4-0 against Blackburn in the FA Cup, but you've 4-0. But we've been done. Hang on, what's this? But you've done us the last 5 times in the league. Okay, so in the cups they beat us, but in the league we beat them.
I think you take that. To be fair, it's the better way around, isn't it? Bet365 says we have 55 attacks, 31 dangerous, and Brum have had 31 attacks, 14. It's half time. He's also said Belfast is a decent night out as well. A couple of Belfasts, bunch of Irish Blackburn fans from them 92 to 96 days. There seems to be a lot of 90s kids in here. Half time 0-0, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, I was just about to say that.
I'm just going to end up sitting here now through half time, just refreshing Blackburn's Twitter page just in case we get a half time transfer.
I've been doing that for the last hour and nothing's happened. Lengths Live, Blackburn's Rovers one, and
just sitting there waiting for Dan to tell us from Lengths Live.
Pretty much. If this is a watch along, where are you guys watching? It's supposed to be on ESPN Plus in the US, but it doesn't seem to be appearing.
No,
if you want to watch Union Berlin versus Wolfsburg, when Knopp and some other German geezer scored, then you're more than happy to watch it, because we were watching that watch along for a few minutes or so before we found out that it got swapped.
They swapped it last minute for some dodgy German game. Disgraceful.
Scandalous.
I mean, who wouldn't want to see Rovers play Birmingham again?
I'm just watching Sky Sports, and there hasn't actually much happened in the Championship today so far.
No. There was that striker, wasn't there, that we recently were linked with Ibrahima Kone from Laurent. Not too sure what sort of striker he is, but it came out of nowhere, really, like the Silver Thomas one. And 23 years old. I think the fact that they sold Toffee to Nice and not the Sweets, actually a player, that's a great name, means it collapsed. That must be frustrating for Greg and whoever's in charge of that. It's always interesting hearing about the back, what happens in the background. The Sunderland side die one was a eye opener for how dodgy it is, essentially, or how how much of a knee-jerk reaction it is to most transfer deadline day signings. You think it would be a lot more professional, but it's really not.
Well, just to interrupt you a minute, I've just had a message from my mother, who is clearly watching this stream, and said, "You're all newbies compared to me. My first game was in 1982."
Jeez.
1982.
And what game was it? Ask what game it was.
I'm sure she'll tell me now that you've asked.
My first game was 2003, by the way. So sort of.
And what was yours?
I think we played Birmingham, and Stern John scored for Birmingham. That's all I remember. I think it was at the end of the season. It was around that time.
I can't believe how old I am.
Well, we're not tremendously young. We are mid-20s at least. I have been called 12 in the chat before, so that's great. Where is Carl Britton? That's a good point. Go on.
A question for you both. What do you feel concerned about the rate that deals are falling through with Rovers? or is that something that's not necessarily overwhelmingly concerning?
I think in terms of the rate of what I bet this has happened every year since the start of the transfer window. So I think it's just because of social media and the how quick it is to find information that we find these out. I bet in the past it's happened a lot more than what we thought. Must be an absolute headache for the likes of Greg, like I said in the background, just listening to all the fans that have a shred of knowledge like ourselves, let's be honest, just give opinions about transfer dealings that probably didn't or never got off the floor, really.
Yeah, I think when thinking about it, like Dom said about watching these documentaries, Sunderland Till I Die, and you see that, in the second season, the owner is there saying, let's put more money into Will Greer, let's put more money into it, and they're going by Will Greer for a ridiculous amount of money, and I don't want that. I don't want my club to be going over the top. If, say, we got promoted, I'd hate it if we went and did what Villa and Fulham and all of them have done. That would really stress me out. I want us to be spending money wisely, doing the right thing, not taking risks. We can't afford to take risks. I'd prefer us to be a well-run club. I think the frustrating thing for everyone at the moment is we've gone from playing quite well with what we've got to now being slightly out of form. And that's now where we're looking, oh God, we need to get some extra players in. We need to do it now. We need to stop the rot. Well, we've proven we can do it with the players we've got. It's just now get the right players in to complement them. Look at Dak. If we didn't have Dak at the start of the season, did we? In the form that he's done, and now we've got him in form. Hopefully the others will then start to come back into their form. But I don't want us to just be throwing loads of money at loads of players that aren't really going to add anything.
Yeah, I think you've bang on. I think I think it's so easy for fans to be so hung up on what we need or what they think we need, and they'll hound the likes of Rich Sharp and all the other journalists for these answers, and then they've got to go now hound JDT and Greg. And I think if we've learned anything from this window, with the likes of Sorba Thomas, it is that we can get a deal done without everyone knowing about it. And I think for all the rumours that there are, and all the rumours are that someone's been close to signing and then it's fallen through, like Dom said, that may have never been the case. But I bet you for at least half of those that happen, there's another half that have maybe got close that we just didn't know about.
No, exactly.
Yeah. You're probably best off doing it behind the scenes. I just got a comment here from Martin. His first game was Anfield in May '95. So is that when his first game was when we were in the league?
Jeez,
it's not bad, is it?
Jeez.
We've had a lot of comments on first games. Again, it's half time. Rich Sharp has said that Hayden Carter is warming up on his own at half time, so I'm not sure. I mean, that's the most exciting point of the game so far, apart from the 51 attacks that we've had.
I'm not sure if you guys saw the comment, but there was a comment made on Twitter by a Rovers fan asking if the game was on telly, and Hayden Carter's mum responded with yes on ESPN Plus at my house, and
are we all going round?
and this fan just said oh no, she said it's on telly at her house, and this fan said, oh, is it on a channel or is Hayden wearing a GoPro?
That's what we
That'd
should
be
have got
decent.
Dan to do.
Yeah, we should have. We can give him a quick call if you want. Ryan said when Mowbray and Venus were handling transfers, we were getting a lot more. These directors of football and directors of recruitment has not worked. More. Does more mean better?
Well, that's the thing. We have no proof on this, do we? We don't know who they've aimed for. I mean,
yes, exactly.
I'd counter that with, do you want to waste money? Do you want to make sure? I mean, how much money have we actually got? You know, like I said earlier, Venky's have put £500,000 a week into running us. You know, if they feel like we've got a real good chance of going up, then I would have expected them to throw money at us. But do they want to pay a premium in January?
I think as well, like for the amount of transfers that came in during the Mowbray year, we're talking over a space of 5 years. Like we're talking over a space of 5 years, and you know, for the good ones that came in, like, you know, your Tyree Stolans and your Harvey Elliott's, and you know, you can easily count so many bad ones as well, like Leighton Clark's, and it just didn't work out. You know, we won't even touch on Sam Gallagher because a headset guy might explode.
You two really hate him, don't you? You're not
we don't hate him. We just think he can't play football.
As a man, yeah, maybe.
I think
he's top quality.
I think he's a top quality guy, but you know, I'm pretty sure he should have been a defender.
Yeah. So when he came back against Blues and he was defending a corner, I thought, you look right. That looks exactly where you should be. But I mean, I'm looking at our squad now.
Who needs JP when you can put Sam Gallagher at the back?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
I remember him having a dodgy start. He getting sent off, hacking people down and stuff, and suddenly he became quality. So yeah, maybe Sam Gallagher, we could do that. But I'm looking at our squad now, and I just don't see where, you know, our expectations could be with promotion at the start of the season. You know, you look at the start of the season, most of us expected us to be mid-table, really, not pushing to where we are. I just think people are now starting to panic that we're not actually expanding the squad with top quality people. I just think they're doing the right thing. I don't think we should be throwing money at this window.
Definitely not. Adam Ronan has said, do you remember when we signed Formica on deadline day? That was Rashina as well at the time. I had such high hopes, and he actually ranked number 8 on the worst ever deadline day signs. Let us know in what website that is, because there's a lot of news going out tonight, and you know, we can put it in the list. Honestly, let us know where that's come from, because I want to know the 7 that have ranked higher, to be fair.
Well, I remember people saying that he was like Riquelme. You know, we all got excited. It was straight on YouTube. Oh, Scott's decided he's had enough.
Scott's had enough. He hates Formica.
But I've got a name for the viewers. Carlos Villanueva.
Oh yes, Carlos.
Do you remember that? Everyone went straight on YouTube, and it was like, oh my God, you know, we've got Pele here. And then, just nothing happened. And I don't know what happened there, because he seemed like he was going to be such an exciting player, and just nothing happened. It seemed to be that it was one that was like straight off.
Yeah, and that was under Sam Allardyce, I think, that season. And he scored a free kick at I think Blythe or something like that. I know. I had the exact same feeling, and you get conned into these YouTube compilations, because look at Diavasio Zifweek or last season. I remember watching his compilations thinking, oh my God, we've got the next Roberto on the wing, Roberto Carlos Alberto, even. That's what I said. Turns out it wasn't.
But again, I mean, you know, it was a really sensible deal, that was. But the other thing I was going to say was, I've seen a lot of people today moaning about obviously losing Ben Brereton Diaz on a free. We lost Lenihan, Nyambe, Rothwell, the list goes on. You got to remember, that was the last regime.
The Rovers change will be Hayden Carter for Daniel Ayala.
Oh, that's not surprising, is it really? Yeah, so Wharton and Carter at the back. But yeah, so losing these players was the last regime. You know, they'd let their contracts go down. We had it with Conor Mahoney, that we all thought was going to be a really exciting player. this regime looks like it's trying to get people down to contracts. It was too late with Ben Brereton. He'd already made it. He'd had that half a season doing really well. He was always going to go. Lenihan had already made his decision. Same with Nyambe, blah, blah, blah. This regime, I do think, are now looking to the future. They're looking to get contracts signed. They're looking to make sure, they've did it. I thought was going to lose Ash Phillips. Straight, he's got Spurs courting him and stuff like that. And we managed to sign his contract. That just shows that this regime is actually a bit more on it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of contract signings this season as well as the end of last season. So yeah, it's good. It's a good sign that they're actually seeing us.
We just need to stop the people moaning about the fact that we're losing Brereton for nothing. It's like that's in the past now. I know it seems like it's now, but that decision was made before Broughton and JDT.
I think if you're Greg Broughton and JDT now, you focus on getting your players like Bradley Dack up on new contracts and your important players going forward. Obviously, like Mike just said, the Ben Brereton thing is gone now. That decision's been made. You can only work forwards from now.
No, exactly, and you bring Dack up. His contract is end of next year, isn't it? He's on a decent wage. Is his future as an attacking midfielder? Is he going to drop into midfield? Do you think about the two-guy kind of role? Where he steps back a little bit, dictates play, because he's always thinking 2-3 steps ahead, and he hasn't got them players around him at the moment that are with him from a football intelligence kind of thing. So should we make sure that Dack gets a new contract and hope that he's found finds a position that's probably a little bit more suited to his aging knees now?
Do you think it will be extended? Do you think obviously JT didn't like it?
I don't think anyone else would take him. As much as we think we love him, we think I've said prime Dack was worth more than prime Brereton Diaz.
I know that's just before the injury. Just before the injury, Dack.
Yeah, the prime Dack. I mean, you had some big teams looking at him. I say bigger than us. And I know there's not many teams bigger than us, but let's be realistic. You had some Prem teams looking at him. They were looking at some decent money. And I think for us, you see some of the things that Dack did with not much around him compared to what Brereton Diaz did for effectively only half a season. I think Dack has been way more of a player for us than Brereton Diaz has.
Yeah,
so I do think it's but I don't think because of his injuries anyone else will take him.
I mean, I think I've heard. I know that the commentators on the Rovers game touched on this at the beginning of the game, and I think as was said by Daki, he's never been, as he puts it, a pace merchant. So there wasn't much pace for him to lose with his injuries. I think his footballing ability comes from being in the right place at the right time, and I don't think he's ever going to lose that. So I think you get Dack in that attacking role, with the likes of Sorba Thompson this season. We've got, he can whip a ball in. So once you get a ball into the 6-yard box, you're looking at Dack to be in the right place to just knock it in, and that's what he does, isn't it?
He's got that football intelligence, that movement. I mean, the only thing I would really worry about his knees is, he does find himself in tight situations, and the lateral movement, moving around, that side of things is obviously quite a big strain on his knees. But to be honest, it sounds like he's actually come back stronger with his knees, but he has lost that pace. But then it came down to match sharpness. I think Gary Neville spoke about match sharpness not long ago, where he said, it's to do with your vision, and that's what Dak had to get used to again. And it looks like he's got used to it again. But I do hope we do sign him to a new contract. I think he deserves it. I don't think it'll be worth as much as what it would have been if he hadn't got injured, but I don't think he would have been with us still if he hadn't got injured. I think he would have been poached by now.
Just a quick question. Do either of you know the reason for JDT's career ending?
JDT? No, I don't know.
I don't know, actually.
Was he not just of age?
Careful.
Just an update, by the way. We've actually got some breaking news. As per of Rich Sharp, Lewis O'Brien has completed his medical at Blackburn Rovers. It's just been confirmed by him or sources around him. So yeah, he's confirmed in full, and we can get up the graphic again. He's 24 years old. If you want to know other stats, his birthday was in October 14th. It's obviously valued at 8 million in the market. 4-year deal currently signed in the summer from Forest. Obviously last season it was at Huddersfield. I believe he was in the team of the season as well. All round good signing. Adds to the team. He can play a number of positions in that centre midfield role. It'd be interesting to see who he is alongside with, because obviously oh, sorry. Dan, I've just announced it if you're watching. As we're saying this, Vale has just taken a shot, apparently. Another thing I was going to mention as well is that obviously with Dak's contract up at the end of the season, I've got the list of the players that are also out at the end of the season. We've got in goal, we've got Hilton. I'll just give you a quick yes or no if you would keep or sell, or keep or let go, essentially. So Jordan Easton.
I would keep him around, to be fair.
Yeah,
Craig W
you might
says,
as well.
sorry, Craig has said that his career ended due to an injury. So
I'm just reading it now. Yeah, it's.
I had an inkling that was the reason, because I think that's why he's been so careful in giving Bradley Dack his chance. I think out of his own experiences of career-ending injuries, I think he just wanted to be extra careful with Dack and make sure that it wasn't going to end the same way for him.
Look when he was,
it's good that you're thinking about the players in that way.
I was just going to say, look, when he was under Mowbray, he obviously was rushed back, and then probably the right moves and steps weren't in at that time. He was probably a lot more vital for the team at the time. And yeah, I think you're right. I think he probably does empathise with him, especially now that we've found out today, just now, that his career was ended due to injury. So we're saying no to Jordan Easton, by the way.
So the thing is about Dak is, I think a lot of people see, who his missus is and stuff like that, and they think he's going to be like this real unprofessional playboy. He's really not. He likes to have a laugh, but he's actually a real professional. He goes fishing and plays golf with his mates, but he's not the one that's on the town drinking all the time. Didn't they cancel their wedding so he could rehab and things like that? So he is a professional.
Is that the reason why?
Apparently, yeah. Not that I know. I don't watch it, but
as in injury rehab.
Yeah, so he was. Oh, yeah, not
right.
Not drugs or alcohol.
Because you were mentioning drinking, and
no,
I was like, "What?"
I said he doesn't look like he does that. You see,
right.
So yeah, so he is a professional. It looks like. I mean, you look at all the Instagrams and all the stories and stuff. It's just him fishing, playing golf with his mates, doing the football side. it's I just saw that comment there. So it was his ACL, but he was at 35. John Dale Thomas retired. So I mean, he had a good career. To be fair to him,
good age.
Do you think? Do you think it's a topic that like follows Tony Mowbray around, like players getting injured? Because obviously, throughout times at Rovers, we found ourselves really stretched throughout injuries. Perfect example is Darrell Lennon when he was having painkilling injections just to play on a Saturday. It's like I don't think JDT takes those sort of risks, and I think in one of the latest interviews at Sunderland, one of Mowbray's comments was, "You don't even want to know about our injuries." So I think it's like, is that something that maybe follows him around? Do you think?
I think there's something there, isn't there? There's definitely something there.
I think,
do you think his style of play is something that could adhere to injuries?
I think it's maybe. I think it could just be as simple as like rushing people back too soon, or any number of things. Look at Daniel Ayala this season. How many games has he managed to play this season without getting injured? And if he has got injured, he's been a week, 2 max, not like the rest of the season.
Like today, I reckon he's probably injured, and he's probably just being like cautious of it rather than letting him carry on.
From a personal point of view, I'd rather protect the players and play sensibly. Don't like play injured players just to try and grind out a result, because playing injured players, are they going to play the best? They're not, are they? No. So I think it's the right thing to do. You've got that depth in the youth. Use it.
Well, it shows the sensible side of the new regime compared to the old regime. The transfer market, and it looks like at the training ground as well. I mean, it'd be really interesting for the players, which they're not going to just yet, but to actually come out and say what was happening different between the Mowbray era to this era, because you would have thought that with all the experience and the youth behind JDT compared to Mowbray, that he might have different ideas of how things should be done than Mowbray, who, I don't want to say he was a dinosaur, because I don't necessarily think he was, but, is there going to be some really odd techniques in there that he's been using that he swears by that actually hasn't been working?
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, you could say that obviously JDT is quite young, new in the managerial lifespan, so his ideals probably more up to date with what the modern game is. And Kevin says it as well. TM went to Sunderland. They already had a few injuries, so can't judge that in his time there. But I'm positive that Tony's training ways that caused his injuries. That's just an assumption, but it's valid. Just a quick one on the game, by the way. Apparently, Ainsley Pears has made a couple of really good saves. And,
I was just about to mention that.
Somebody mentioned it. Daniel Heckers says Pears is playing wicked. At what stage do you think he could potentially become number one? Is it a case of the next game if he's having a blinder again?
Yeah, you got to go with a hot hand, haven't you? It's as much as I think as a goalkeeper, I hated being dropped at any point for any reason. Kaminsky's got to admit to himself he's made some mistakes, and if I personally would have kept with Kaminsky, because I think the highs of Kaminsky, I think he could be a Premier League goalkeeper, a top level goalkeeper. Yes, he's made some mistakes, but you look at the previous, games and last season, he is top level goalkeeper. But he's in a bit of a rut. Is it Pears or Pears? I've always said Pears.
I've always said
yeah,
Spurs.
tomato, tomato. Did I say it right?
If Ainsley, we'll call him Ainsley. If Ainsley's
Ainsley.
doing well, then you've got to say, you know, he's had 2 good games, but didn't he have a dodgy game not long ago? One of the like 3 or 4 games that he played ago.
Was it Wigan?
Could have been
last season.
You know, he's played well against Norwich. You know, very
playing
good
well
side.
today, isn't he?
He's playing well today. You know, do you just say to Kaminsky, look, I think I'm going to take you away. You know, let you sort yourself out. You'll get your chance again. But, you know, if Ainsley plays well and carries on, then you've got to do it for the good of the team. It's not, you know, it's what have you done for me lately kind of attitude.
Yeah. Alexander Haven has said, we still need a striker. We know that as well, and we are waiting patiently. We are 60 minutes into this game, and I'm assuming if it's 0-0, I'm assuming it goes straight to penalties, but don't hold that to me. It's not going to happen, is it? Hopefully it will. But would you rather not get a striker than one that's terrible? You know, like one that's just a bit more of a Hurst-esque. I think you'd rather just keep it as it is rather than just gamble it.
Well, the weird thing is we cancelled Hurst's loan very early, or we got Ipswich to cancel it very early. So they had someone in mind.
They must have had it.
But they must have cancelled it because we told them they wasn't going to play.
Well, yeah, that's obvious though, isn't it?
You know, because if we really wanted to keep him, I think we would have kept him. So
I think, like I said before, I think the thing with needing a striker is, I don't think we're in all that too big of a difference than we were at the start of the season. No. And look where we are. I mean, do we deserve to be where we are? Maybe not. Are we fortunate to be there? Definitely. But I think, you know, if we'd have been mid-table since the beginning of the season, I don't think we'd be having the sort of conversations we are.
Yeah.
I think it's because of how well we've done and we've overachieved that we are talking the way we are, and people are even talking about promotion. I think, you know, you look at like pushing for playoffs. You know, even if you make the playoffs, are you going to win them? Probably not. If you do win them by some miracle, you know, are you going to, you know, if you win them, you go up. But are we going to be able to stay up in the Premier League? No. So it's like,
oh, we're not ready.
We're not ready, and you've got people that'll, you know, you've got people mourning now that we're not pushing for promotion or that we're not getting all these transfers in. But, you know, it's like you said, Mike, it's about, you know, spending money sensibly, building the club slowly. And, you know, JD keeps saying, you know, it takes patience, it takes time, and it's true. You know, if you push all at once, you're going to go up, and then you can come back straight back down, and then people will be mourning next year when we're just losing constantly. So it's just you can never please some people, but I think that's one of my big opinions on promotion.
So obviously Craig W put it in the bottom third. Do you think Rovers will get top 6? And if not, who are the 4 that would be in the? Because obviously we know that it's going to be the other side across the M65. Obviously they're about 18 points ahead, as well as Sheffield United, who look very strong right now. If it wasn't going to be Rovers, who would be the 4? But first and foremost, do you think we'll make it?
No, if I'm being brutally honest, I don't. I think we had a very, like Scott's just said, I think we were blinded by the fact that we had a fantastic start to the season. Everyone was firing and we didn't have many injuries. We had some fantastic results against the likes of West Brom at home. I just think our confidence was just up here. And then just, it's the Championship. You've got 2 games a week plus cup runs. It just kills the player. We didn't have the squad to deal with it. I don't think that we're going to have the squad to deal with it, for a good season or two. So, yeah, I think we'll drop. I'll be disappointed if we drop quite far out, finish 12th, 13th. But I do think we'll drop out. I'm just trying to find the league table now, because the thing is to think about who's going to make it. It's always someone making a late run, isn't it? And they're the ones that tend to go up. So I'm just looking now. So you've got Middlesbrough, Watford, Luton. I mean, I can't stand Luton. Like, their ground just stresses me out. I just think that the fact that Luton are even up there stresses me out, because I couldn't imagine Premier League teams having to walk through someone's house to get to the away end. It's absolutely crazy. I think West Brom will come up. I don't think Sunderland will. I think they'll do the Mowbray slump.
There you go.
I think it baffles me that it's always baffled me. You've got to walk through someone's house to get into the stadium.
Stresses me out. Luton's ground.
What sort of setup is that?
Yeah.
Oh, so are Luton playing now against Cardiff? Oh, I didn't really realise that. Wait, they're above us. I didn't even realise that.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously you've got, and do apologise, the tiny font. There is one. There's like 3 points between the 3rd and 8th, 4 points between 3rd and 10th. I think Preston obviously aren't going to make it, but yeah, it's good to be in the pack, I think. And
looking at the form, you've got West Brom coming into a bit of form. I know they lost the last game. I don't think Sunderland will make it. I don't think Millwall or Luton will make it. So that makes Burnley and Sheffield United. I think we've got to say they're just going to go up and run away with it. We can talk about parachute money and slagging them off, but there's no point. Carrick's done what a job he's done at Middlesbrough. To be fair, we've got our Diaz has just hit the post.
Yeah, that was a few minutes ago when you two were talking. The Burton. I think it was Dak that actually hit the post. Was it Dak or was it Burton? One of them hit the post, the foot of the post, and went off to the side. So just after another Piers save. So
seems a bit end to end.
Yeah, there seems to be an actual game going on now rather than just half attacking.
But no, to go back to it, Carrick's done a fantastic job at Middlesbrough. Have they gone too soon? We'll wait and see. But it's going to be your normal people, like your Watfords, Norwiches, and West Broms, isn't it? They're the
nice
ones
to
that
be
have
there.
the squad size. Yeah, I'd like to be two or three games gone. To go. I would love it where we're still thinking, do you know what, we could make it here. I don't want it to be where 4 or 5 games to go, we're mid-table and we're just like, okay, let's look forward to next year.
Another season where it's just sort of the hope has just faded away within, and we all know that it is February tomorrow, like we said at the start of the stream, and last few seasons has been quite precarious in the February month. Gareth says we'll end up just outside the playoffs.
Yeah, great.
Kevin says Watford, West Brom, Norwich and Borough. Yeah, like we said, it's always going to be the teams that either came down recently, got the payments, or got more of a financial backing in terms of FFP and stuff like that.
Yeah, they'll have the squads to deal with it. They've still got leftover squad players.
Yes.
I mean, my first appearance on this channel was on deadline day in the summer, and I think I said then that if we'd if we finish 8th like we did last year, that would, I think in the summer you say that would be a great finish. Finishing 8th with new management, new backroom staff, new players, new captain. You'd call that a good season. But now you feel if you finish 8th now, how many people are going to be disappointed, mourning, angry? I've heard people.
I don't think they'll be as disappointed as last season, to be fair, because last season we were so far ahead of the others, weren't we? And we just fell off a cliff. Whereas this season,
you've got
2 points, 3 points gets you down.
You've got people calling for JDT to be out now, and it's just like,
no,
it's nonsense. It's the nonsense tweets from just fans that are just reactive, and you know, I think if you look at it from an honest perspective, like JDT is not going to rush. He's not going to put anything above, you know, the team, and you know, he's got an idea of what he wants to build, how he wants to play, and it doesn't happen overnight. And you know, anyone who, you know, really listens and understands, you know, you know it's not going to happen overnight, like especially with such a young squad. But I'm sure, you know, you give it, you know, a season, maybe two, you'll have the team. He'll have the team that he wants, because you know these players are all very young and still developing, and if he can develop them in the way that he wants, then they'll turn out to be really good players.
No, exactly. I mean,
probably
we
right,
got to
yeah.
remember he came in late, didn't he? I mean, when was he appointed? It was quite late in the.
Quite late in the window, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean, you've got to say that he hasn't had chance to really get to know, and he's not going to come in and just say, right, I want to bring in 11 of my own players. He hasn't got the money to do it, so he needs to sit down. He needs to assess everyone. Obviously, Greg Broughton comes in. He's the one that's doing all of the signings and so on. So they've got to have their meetings. He's got to decide, okay, well, actually, I think this is the focus, or this could be the focus. You know, Greg's got to go away and find these players. We haven't got much of a budget. Someone mentioned earlier that obviously the Adam Armstrong money all got soaked up. Do you know what? Yeah, that's probably is going to get soaked up into the running of the club. We've got to think about FFP, things like that. We've got to follow the rules. I mean, don't get me started on FFP, because I think it's absolutely dodgy as anything. You know, but you've got, like I said earlier, is this even his formation? You know, he's been given a squad. He'd lost a lot of the heart of the squad as well. He has a guy that's going to be leaving on a free, so you don't know how he's going to play. Is he even going to want to try this season? You know, you don't know. So he had Ben Brereton on that front. You know, he had an injured Dak to deal with. He had Sam Gallagher up front. I mean, Mourinho wouldn't do anything with Sam Gallagher, just to get that in there again. You know, he had no right back of sorts, you know, and they've gone and got it. His left back situation, you know, was Pickering even his signing? I don't think it was. It was
The Mowbray signing.
It was Mowbray, sorry, yeah. So you know, you've got all these players that are not his players, but yet he managed to get us firing straight away.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be realistic now and say, let's be honest, like you said, at the start of the season, we would have bitten our hands off at being in a playoff hunt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, this was a big job for him to take on. This was an absolute overhaul, and he hasn't even done an overhaul. I mean, I'm looking at the squad now. You know, like we said at the start, most teams that get promoted, they have a handful of Prem-ready players, and then they have a handful of top quality Championship players, and the rest are squad players. Now you've got Kaminsky, Pears or Piers, Phillips, who we didn't know anything about. We just knew he could have been good. You know, Hyam was a great signing. Ayala, who's, you know, he's an old guy, he's experienced, but he's not top. I mean, would you say Hyam's ready for Prem? I think he's good, but I don't think he's ready for Prem. Scott Wharton, I don't think he's anywhere close to being ready for Prem. Same with Carter, same with Pickering, Eden, Britton, Rankin Costello, Travis, Mola, Garrett, Morton, Wharton, Buckley, Dak, Schmodix, Dolan, obviously now Sorba Thomas, Ryan Hedges, Markanday, Brereton, Diaz, Sam Gallagher, Jack Vale. How many of them are ready for Premier League football? We was never going to compete at the top level of the Championship.
I think I've had this chat with Dan before, and I think I've said to Dan, like, I think you give it a few windows, you give it maybe two summer windows, like full summer windows, so not including this one just gone, but you give it two full summer windows, and I think you're going to see a completely different Rovers side. I think, you know, there's only a handful of players that we have now that, you know, may still be there. Because I think, you know, like you said, more than half of this squad is not his signings, not his players. And I think he will want to, you know, you don't want to just keep going with what you've got. You want to, you know, improve. And if you can't develop those players and make them better players, then you're going to need to get better players in the only way you can.
Well, like someone just said about the running of a Category 1 youth side, I think we said it earlier. I think it's £5 million a season. It costs. You know, like Ryan said and Kevin said there, the running of the Category 1 academy, you know, isn't cheap either. It's not £5 million a year. Now, do we sacrifice that? Because when we was talking about closing the Brock Hall off, selling some of it and doing all of that, we was all up in arms. Well, you can't have it both ways. You know, do you want to have this fantastic run? I mean, what's the run at the moment of us having an academy graduate in the side? It's ridiculous, isn't it? You know,
yes.
I'm proud of that. I'm more proud of that than us going and spending £10 million on a striker that's a massive risk.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I don't want us wasting money on stuff like that when we can keep this academy going.
I think I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it until it sticks. But you know, the idea is you buy the talent, you develop it, you sell it, and you know that's the way we have to run this club, because we're not flush, we're not, you know, rolling in money. You know, I don't think Venky's sell anywhere near enough chickens to be rolling in money. But I think, you know, if you buy the talent cheap, you know, you develop it, you sell it. You know, the Category 1 academy is, you know, a perfect example of that as well. You develop that talent from a young age, and you know, you can easily sell that talent in a few years for a lot of money, and you know, you use that money and, you know, invest it right, and that's the way you build a football club nowadays.
Well, Naive Steve's just said there about JTT's European connections. Yeah, but his European connections are Champions League level. They are, you know, they're not going to want to. Then, for all the will in the world, we're not going to get. This isn't Football Manager. We can't get them, obviously, easily to come to Blackburn. You know, we can't even get Porteous from Hibs. So you know, we need to be realistic here. You know,
Continental.
Yes, we have Continental, and he's looked at them. Look at the names we've been linked to. You know, look at the names we've been linked to, and he has tried. But again, it's not. He has got these links. He has tried. I mean, Mowbray brought in Tommy Johnson, didn't they? And it was the John Park, was it, from Celtic? And we was thinking, oh God, you know, we've now got someone that's going to bring in some who came in, because we've got to realise who we are, and that's why I love the £5 million a year into the academy. You know, so then we can actually have that side of you know, the team being fed by quality youth. I mean, again, to go back to the squads, you know, we sold Adam Armstrong for, was it 15 million? I think we got for him, something like that.
Yeah, so, but we ended up, I think we only got about 9 for it because we had the sell on and given to Newcastle. So I think 9 of it was what we got in the end.
Okay, so that's fine. So we got a decent amount of money for him. Okay, we could have potentially got that for Ben Brereton. Other than Ashley Phillips, I can't see any of our players being worth that kind of money in the next 2 years. Now, I know we wouldn't have necessarily said it with Ben Brereton until he put the Diaz on his name, obviously. He was considered a flop, and he had one good half a season. Suddenly, you know, he's considered this fantastic signing. I can't see anyone in our squad that is going to be making that next step other than Ashley Phillips. So that being said, that just shows the level that we are at the moment and he's working with. He can't go into Europe and bring in players of quality that are going to be Prem ready to Blackburn. We've got to take it, you know, on the chin that we are looking at 500,000 to maybe 2.5 million, I think, is the most we've spent over the last. On how much was Hyam?
I think it was Smodix, wasn't it? It was 2.5.
You know, so obviously So that's obviously quite a bit of money, but that's kind of the most we're going to be able to spend on players. And what are you going to get nowadays for 2.5 million? You are going to get a Sam Smodics.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very true. I think most Championship teams are like that, and apart from a couple of them, they are like Rovers at the minute. Other than the top 6, like we said, your Middlesbroughs have a lot. Sheffield United's, Birmingham's. Chris has just said that Adam Wharton, if he gets time, will be worth a few million quid in a few years. Yeah, he needs to be preserved a little bit, I suppose, or if he has too much too soon, and it could be a detriment. But
it's difficult for a midfield player to shine, though, isn't it? How can you make a midfield player into a £20 million player? He's got to be pinging the goals, getting the assists, running the show. You've really got to be on it in midfield to make that kind of step up. I mean, you looked at Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham, you could tell from the start what he was doing, which is why he did what he did. You watched him, he would take the ball from the edge of one box, carry it, pass it intelligently, great movement, get it back. And then before you knew it, he was the centre of the move all the way to the other end of the pitch. That's the kind of step up Adam Wharton would need to make. Can he do it? Is that his game? I don't know.
Is it still 0-0? By the way?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there is a game going on. It's 0-0. What's Wolfsburg's doing?
Oh yeah, Wolfsburg. That's the game. Is it not on
ESPN? We've had quite a few attacks, which is positive.
Yeah, we at the post, didn't we?
I think Elliot Bennett, who's commentating, has said that he thinks that the next goal will win the game. He doesn't think it'll be a game like the other day. He thinks.
I was going to say it's not exactly a bold statement, though.
It'll be a 1-0 either way.
Oh, that's a bold statement, Elliot.
Union Berlin are winning, by the way. So if anybody's a Union Berlin fan, great place to go out. If you're speaking about cities that are good to go out in, Berlin's got to be up there as well. In terms of transfer news, there's nothing happening at the minute because obviously this game takes precedent with all the reporters, including Dan, who's left us in charge of this Rovers Chat. So we could actually, if we really wanted to, get it demonetized. If we really wanted to be vindictive. He's currently with Lancs Live in Birmingham. How many away fans were there today? Was it about?
Wasn't a hell of a lot, was it?
No, I can't imagine it.
Forward down, actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, but I decided to sit with you boys.
In the warmth.
I should have had this at the game, been like Chris Kamara.
Yeah. So apparently 547
fair play
fans
to
went, which is decent, to be fair.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah. So the players that are out of contract this summer, we talk about players that are out of contract, are Jordan Easton, Joe Hilton, Daniel Ayala, Clinton Mola, obviously, Dak, Jared Harlock, Tyler Morton, Sorba, and Ben Bruton Diaz. Other than Diaz and I don't know who's left in that really. That is Ayala. I don't think you'd want him to carry on with us at this stage now. I think he's, to be honest with you, I'm surprised he got to this third season after the first 6 months or so. But other than that, I wouldn't really feel disappointed with any of the others leaving necessarily, other than Dak and Brereton Diaz. But that one seems a foregone conclusion now with him being heavily linked with Villarreal. Is there anybody there that you'd think should stay after the season ends?
No, not really. I mean, I'm in the middle of a little bit of a deep dive on our squads.
Oh, really?
And to put it in perspective, if you look at when we last got promoted, it takes me 4 scrolls to get down to the bottom. Our current squad, it takes me 1. So that is the difference between when we last got promoted into the Premier League to now, the squad size. Now, granted, we had the likes of Friedel and Matt Jansen and so on, but it just shows the difference in squad size of what you need to get out of this league. And there's so much experience in there as well. So I was just thinking about Ayala. He's 32. Do we hear that he's really good in the changing room or anything like that? What do we hear about him as a person? Because he seems like a leader, but when you look at the Bristol game when he got sent off, weirdly enough, Dak was the one that was grabbing everyone, organising everything, and so on. I agree with Alexander there. I think you've got to keep Dak on. You've beyond this season. I think Dak is a leader. I think he's a leader on the pitch and off the pitch. I don't like Travis as a captain. I've said it before. I don't think he's good enough as a player. He doesn't seem like he's an on the pitch leader. He just seems like he's a bit of a shit house, to be honest.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know what he does behind closed doors, but I just think that Dak's the obvious captain material at the moment. But Ayala, it'd be interesting with Ayala how much he does in the background.
I think if you'd asked me about Ayala a few months ago, I would have had a different answer than I do now. I think I would have said, with the way he was playing a few months ago, give him another 1 year, it doesn't really make much difference. But I think now with the way we're trying to play, because Ayala he's a very defensive defender, which is great if you're playing that way. But we want to play out from the back, meaning we want to, distribute ball quickly. And I think
weird considering he's
Spanish,
in a way, isn't it?
In a way, he's sort of like holding that back. Do you know what I mean? I think if as good as Daniel Ayala can be in defence, I think you want to get players in that are good at playing out from the back.
We've had a couple of subs, by the way, and I think you'll like it. Dak and Vale have come off for Smodics and your favourite Gallagher.
We're trying to win this year.
5 minutes plus stoppages, and if no goal, then it's extra time. So we've got 30 more minutes of it.
We don't need this.
We don't
need this as a squad. Go on, Sammy. Score an own goal. Let's go.
Just bounce in the net.
Sam Gallagher scores the winner. Me and Scott are just signing off.
Yeah, I'll just be by myself for the last hour or so. Now Steve said that Travis is the championship answer to Robbie Savage.
That made me laugh, that did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Robbie Savage could actually play. That was the thing. I mean, he could take a free kick. He could take a penalty. I don't know what your thoughts on Travis. I think he's a good squad player. I think he's someone good to have around. It's great that obviously, we have someone like that. But for me, I don't think he's a regular starter, let alone captain.
I think his form has dropped since becoming captain. I think, the extra added, whether it's the added responsibility of being captain or whether he feels the pressure of being captain has affected his play. But, I feel that he was a much better player when he was just, a part of the squad and, a player in the squad when Linehan was captain. I think you want your captain to be, like Mike said, like Bradley Dack, leading them on the pitch. You can visibly see when Bradley Dack is leading the players on the pitch, and you've got to question what's going to happen in this game now that he's gone off. Who is going to become that leader on the pitch now that Bradley Dack's gone off? Because I feel that in the first game against Birmingham, conceding to get late on. Bradley Dack had gone off at that point, who was leading them at that point. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if you see something else like that today.
Just a quick update. Pears has had a double save again. A pair from Pears. Nicely done. I think that I think that the added pressure of Travis being captain this season is quite obvious on the pitch. I don't think he suits John Doyle's system or style of play. I think he's probably in terms of on the ball technique. I think he probably is the poorest in our centre midfielders. But I think he'd be good in a 3 rather than a 2. I think he looks very open as a 2. But I mean, everyone else this season at some point looked very open in that 2. If he was maybe the sitting defensive minded player rather than as a 3, then it would suit him perfectly. But I just don't think it works out for him. There's 3 minutes of added time, by the way. 3 minutes.
Well, with Travis, I do think he's not suiting the style of play as well. Do we know what he's like on his social media or anything like that with the other lads? I mean, I don't follow him or anything. Is he like Dak, where it's all constant team with him, or?
There seems to be a togetherness from what we can see on Instagram, but it's hard to say, isn't it? Because we don't see what happens in the back, in the background. But he does seem like he has the right attributes to be captain one day. I think you're both right in terms of it's probably just not right now. He seems a bit too naive to be a captain right now. And Dak, but in hindsight, Travis was the only choice at that point. I think Dak wasn't ready, or we didn't even know whether Dak would even be in this team anymore this season. Exactly. I think. But obviously now you'd probably choose Dak over Travis. Naive Steve says not much happening with transfers. There's a reason we're talking about Travis for the last 5 minutes, and yeah, you're absolutely right.
Between ESPN Plus absolutely effing us over.
Yeah,
not many transfers. This is just us talking about the current squad.
Pretty much. We're still waiting on that striker.
It's our biggest need, isn't it? The centre forwards. I mean, Undav being back on the table, is that true?
Yeah.
Is that because Brighton didn't find another place for him?
Maybe,
I've not heard anything about that, but there is a question just been paused on the commentary, and I think it's a question for Mike. The question was, do you think that a player can be guilty of working too hard in a match?
Yeah, I suppose they can do, because they overthink things.
Because they're talking about Sam Gallagher here.
Okay, so I kind of get it. I know where they're getting at, and obviously, if you think about the Mowbray system, and obviously now into JDT, if you look at, the striker would come out towards the wings quite a lot, and but you look at Rhodes, and he never did that. He was like, I'm in the box, you feed me the ball, turn around, and I'll score. That's basically what we do. I think there could be an element of that. The overthinking things, trying too hard. But you look at Vale. Vale's doing exactly the same as what Gallagher's doing when he comes on.
Yeah,
it just seems to constantly go off to the wings.
I think on his day can be.
It is extra time, by the way.
Wait.
On his day can be all right. Gally, he can do a lot of work off the ball, which can affect things on the ball, and I think that has been overlooked at times. But recently, it's not been the case. He's been getting in those positions. The ball's been fed to him in the box, and then he's done something daft, like pass it to no one, rather than just shoot. And I think it's a confidence thing, to be honest. I think he doesn't have the confidence to take that shot on, or if he does take a shot, he just hits it as hard as he can, rather than maybe just play a more tactical shot, or just tap it round the keeper, or any number of things. I think he just hits it as hard as he can, and then it goes flying over the bar. And I think that's just a confidence thing.
I think that's exactly what what you're saying. Spot on. It's when we moan about him, we're not moaning about his tactical awareness or anything like that. We're moaning about the quality when he does do something. So you look at Birmingham, he had the absolute perfect chance to stick his right foot behind the shot. I think it was first half. And what did he do? He tried to pass it into a crowd. And it's like, no, take the shot. There's times where, he just doesn't show the quality that he needs to show. And it's the same with, quite a few strikers. And when they're like that, it was the same with George Hurst. I don't think Gallagher's ever shown me consistently that he is a top-level championship striker. He's a big lump and he can head it, but we don't play that game. So it's like, well, what's the point in him
then? Rovers did not draw any of their first 27 league games this season. We've now drawn our last 3 90-minute competitive games. So
consistency.
Also, Rob's Weather and
two of
News
them were
channel.
against the same side.
Rob's Weather and News channel. What is the latest in the weather and news? Please let us know. Apparently on forums, the Undav deal is alive again, but I don't know how much you can trust the forums.
Well, we're going to start hearing people seeing him filling his car up in Chorley soon, aren't we? It's it's getting to that time, isn't it?
Yeah, he's on the M65 McDonald's. He's Undav.
He's just picked up a Big Mac.
Is that what you get from
McDonald's? Probably the wrong
McDonald's?
thing then if he's got it from M65.
I wonder what Undav gets from McDonald's. That's where my thoughts gone from that. Because
Happy Meal,
decent. I had one of them sriracha wraps from the other day. That was decent.
Can it
it's
play
0-0 full time. Sriracha wrap.
Can we all just step back and look how interesting our transfer news is that we're talking about? What Undav maybe gets from McDonald's.
No, but that sriracha wrap was decent, to be fair, because it's pretty hot, and it goes out of circulation on the 14th, so I might have to get there quick, to be fair. It's 0-0 a game, full time, extra time.
No one wanted this.
No one. Would you prefer
I'm
a
just
loss?
glad that feed didn't work for me.
Oh my god, yeah. You I'd be like, we're going back to Mike now on the game. You'd be like, just go away. Broughton trying to get O'Brien pissed so he will sign. I think he is signed. I think unless he's got pissed in the medical. It's quite disappointing.
The one thing, like I said to you in your we was talking in the cup draw, and I commented saying, the most predictable thing about the Rovers is how unpredictable we are. We don't know what's going to happen in the next hour and a bit. We could have something in the line. There could have been a backup plan. Broughton seems to be someone that's quite spot on, but I think we've all got to realise now that the chances are pretty slim and this is the squad that we're going to be running with.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Blackburn Twitter page. We have had a new signing. It's the one in the middle. You can see it. The brown one in the middle. Do it show? It's out of nowhere, to be fair. It must have been in the forum. Yeah, he's a good centre back, to be fair. Nothing has happened, as you can see. Full time. There's about 3 updates at a half. It shows how good the game was. Let's go back onto this. Oh, Christ.
What do you think? Do you guys think that it'll be settled in extra time, or do you think it's going to go all the way to penalties?
I at this stage, just give me a goal at any point. Dizzy Thumbs says,
Jack Vale's come off, hasn't he?
Yeah.
"Was he come off?
Yeah.
Did he come off for Sam Gallagher?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yes,
reckon Sam Gallagher's going to get the winner. I've said it. Sam Gallagher's going to get the winner. We're all going to say he's a hero. We're going to delete this video and say that we've always supported him, best striker in the league.
Yeah, we've scouted the European market and we just can't find anyone as good as him. So there's no point in wasting our time. Yeah, Peters had a great game, but what is his passing like? Better than Kaminsky?
I found in the last game against Norwich, he seemed more assured. But I don't think we played that game quite as much as we normally would. There was a little bit more getting rid. Because I've noticed the last few games we do mess about at the back. And I use the term messing about because we're not good enough to pass it about. So there is quite a bit of messing about the back, and he has started like getting rid quite a bit. But his distribution looked quite good. I think the thing with him that I was impressed with his positioning and his communication. So if you look at most of the saves he's making, he's in the right position to make that save. They're not diving saves into the top corner down to the bottom all the time.
Yeah.
His positioning is absolutely spot on.
I think you look at Ainsley Pears, like obviously we've not seen all that much of him because obviously he's been our second keeper and he's not played that many games for us. But you look at when he came and he maybe wasn't as good as he is now, and I think the improvement that he's made to his game since arriving has been massive. I think you can see he's come on leaps and bounds, and you can see the talent that he has, and it doesn't surprise me at all why he's getting picked to play, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he does get a chance in a league game.
Well, what we saying about Leonard as well? I mean, he's getting goals in the reserves.
I really wanted to see him come on the other day when we played at home. I really wanted to see him come on.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've not watched, the seconds play. I say seconds. Obviously, is it under 23s now or under 21s?
They changed it back to under 21s.
Yeah, so I haven't seen them, but you're hearing about his stats, being pretty good. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but is it a case of if we don't bring in a striker, okay, well, we have got what we've got. Let's give Leonard a go. I mean, look at what we said with Phillips. We didn't expect Phillips to do what he did. We didn't expect Dolan to do what he did at the start of last year. See, who knows? You could give Leonard his chance. One goes in off his arse and he gets lucky and he's off and running, and suddenly we've got our striker.
I think it was after one of the international cup games, maybe the Valencia one. I think the under-23's boss said that like their job isn't about the results; it's about the development of the players. Obviously, developing them for the first team, and that's the primary goal. And I think the fact that they know that that's the primary goal, that's what you want. I mean, I heard a rumor, don't know if it's true, but I heard that when JDT did come in, he sat down with all the academy coaches and explained to them how he planned to play so that they could play a similar way, so that the youngsters coming through were already ready to play his way. And I think something just as simple as that is a great thing to be doing, because you don't want to have youth players coming through and then you have to teach them how you want them to play. If you're bringing youth players through, you want them to be having learnt this already. And I think doing something as simple as that when you first get appointed is something that you should be looking to do.
But it's things like that that are making me, so-called trust in the process, trust the project, because, people calling for his head already, it's like, no, it's a ridiculous thing. If we're in a relegation battle, yeah, okay, it hasn't worked, so let's move on. But, we're ahead of the curve. We don't know what's going to happen in the summer. We don't know what's going to happen next year. But I'm definitely at the point where I'm just like hearing things like what you just said. They're the positives for me. He's come in and he's thought to himself, do you know what? I'm here for the long haul. Let's build something that's getting us ready for promotion. Because we're not ready, like we said. We're not ready. And we was never going to be ready just after one transfer window.
We are 97, 98 minutes in, and it's still 0-0.
I just paused then because Bet365 halted all bets, and it said Birmingham attack, and I thought, oh, crap.
Buckley's been booked. Fitting. We're still in. Well, we were in fourth until today. I'm not sure or fifth. I'm not sure if Luton have won or drawn. To be honest with you, how are Union Berlin getting on?
I've got Sky Sports on now.
Okay. There was a couple of people that we missed out on the because obviously Louis Annesley and James Brown also left for Dundalk and Doncaster respectively. Do you think they would have had a chance in this team, or do you think the loaning out and the selling was the right move on both of their behalves?
Yeah, I think Luton won, by the way, 1-0, last minute goal, which means they're now up into fourth, and we're down to sixth, just above the playoffs. No, they were never good enough. I mean, they them kind of players, you're buying them at that kind of age, it's a risk. And Blackburn have scored.
Have we scored?
Yeah, we've just scored.
A goal. Who scored? Let's have a look.
Thank God. If it's Soundgarden, I'm going to go mad.
One sec. It's a great watch along this, isn't it? Have we done a goal?
I'm just going off Bet365.
My Twitter has...
Sky Sports is awful.
Own goal have scored.
Oh, yeah, my mate's just messaged me. Austin Trusty,
the American. Yeah. We have done a goal. Something has happened tonight. We are 2 hours and 22 minutes in.
Now I do feel like Chris Kamara.
We go to Mike now. Sorry. We go to headset guy for the latest.
Well, my Bet365 account has just told me that we've scored. My mate's messaged me as a Blues fan. He's just put Austin Trusty, just getting this shit done with. If none of you fuckers are going to score, I'm just going to stick it in my own net.
Yeah, nobody wants any more time. But we are 1-0 up in this game thanks to a own goal. Can we hold on to this magical victory? And I know I am, but are you two booking your day off for Wembley yet?
Oh God, we're one of the only teams that haven't played at the new Wembley, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
There's only 8 teams or something in the EFL and Prem that haven't played, because obviously Spurs were there for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, and a lot of teams in the Prem played at Spurs, which was the Wembley. So I think, there's.
And let's not get ahead of ourselves, obviously, but if we do, we're going to win the whole thing.
Well, we're in it still. I bet he's got the Danny Goal channel. I bet you got that it's not Ben Brereton Diaz, but it's still a goal. On goal has been our top scorer in the last day or so. It's good to see. How much money do we get from this win? Someone mentioned it, don't we?
Is it 150,000? 250,000 there, yeah.
Let's have a look at it properly. FA Cup.
Someone said beat Leicester and get 450,000.
That's all right, isn't it?
I mean, the grand scheme of things, it's still not a lot of money, is it?
No, when you said before 500k a week to
Yeah.
So
if anyone's interested, have a look at Kieran Maguire talking about Blackburn's finances, and it really puts into perspective. And I know the Venky's caused this issue by being badly advised at the start, but you know, it is really interesting to see what they're having to do now to keep us going.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the likes of West Brom, Birmingham, Cardiff, all horrendously ran at the minute. West Brom putting a loan out of their own team, I think, essentially. And yeah, if they don't go up this season, they are screwed. We're 1-0 up.
Talking of when Venky's were badly advised, do we all remember that advert of all the players in changing room eating chicken?
Oh my god, yeah. That's yeah.
That was embarrassing, wasn't it?
That was peak, weren't it? That was peak, like horrendous. It's like traumatic time, weren't it?
Salgado, didn't he put it in a book or something, saying it was like one of the most embarrassing things he did?
Really? But, yeah. I mean, it is, isn't it? Like, let's be real. Is he not a Champions League winner?
Yeah. Imagine going from Real Madrid to eating chicken in the Blackburn changing room.
Oh my god!
Eating chicken in Lancashire.
No wonder he left later that season.
But now going back to the Venky's thing, I mean, you've got to say that we are doing things sensibly now. I know we're 2.5 hours into the show. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but we are doing things sensibly now. We didn't at the start. I mean, you look at the loan fee, the agent fees we paid. I think it was Ruben Rashina. If you remember him, getting him from Barcelona, I think we paid something like 800,000 for him, but we paid the agent 2 million or 1.5 to 2 million. You know, things like that. You know, they were really badly advised. It put them off completely. So, yes, they've caused the issues. Yes, we are down where we are because of, I mean, there was rumours that they didn't even think we could get relegated and stuff like that, which was ridiculous. But they are trying to make amends for it now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will never forgive them. But
yeah, if you see it in black and white, then obviously if you don't dive into it properly, then you will just see that Venky's came in, then we got relegated essentially, and it was all their fault. But like you say, it was just badly advised at the time, and yeah, stuff like the Ruben Rashina story and getting in what's it called, Edinburgh, and then
Appleton and all of
sacking him for 2 million 60 days later, stuff like that. Yeah, it was a circus at that point, and since Mowbray, it has been on the up every season, thankfully, and a lot more stable and secure.
You think about that period now, and I'll be honest, it sounds a lot like what's happening to our friends down the road at Wigan. You know, they've signed in these managers on like 3-year contracts, and then having to buy them out of the contracts when they've decided, oh, this is a mistake. Like 10 weeks later, it's like, how much money are they wasting when they're already struggling to pay their players? It's like, it's a worry when clubs are run like that.
Yeah,
I was just about to say about this one.
Yeah, it was Ken Anderson, wasn't it? And the what was that company called that he had? He's basically made a living of failing upwards somehow, and he's he was the one that basically was the advisor at the time, and him and Chevy Singh.
Kintaro, wasn't it?
Kintaro, that was it. Yeah, the two that really were, well, to put it nicely, dodgy in the nicest terms, weren't they? That was it, Sem Kintaro.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a podcast about this, and they really went into the details about, you know, Chevy Singh and all of that era and how they were being advised, and you know, they put the club into Kintaro's hands for a year, but it just all went wrong because they just lined their own pockets, and then that was it. Then the damage was done. You know, Danny Murphy, what was signing him on ridiculous money? It was terrible.
Dixon Atugu and Leon
Half
Betts.
time in extra time, by the way.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's half time in extra time right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is a game going on, and there is a transfer deadline day going on as well. The Undav thing.
Not just sat here having a chat though.
Yeah, it's just I've been refreshing Twitter all this time about anything. Nothing as yet. Yeah, poorly advised. Shoddy Singh should have advised from. Yeah, I mean that would have been a lot more entertaining anyway.
We've had more up front with her, wouldn't we? But no, yeah, the Venkis thing, they were poorly advised because they put the club in Kentaro's hands for the first year. So they bought them because they wanted them, but they weren't ready to really get into it. So they put it in Kentaro's hands, and then they absolutely effed everything up, and then that was it. Then the damage was done on that front. They're saying about Dolan's bedtime. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, I was about to say 10 o'clock.
As soon as full time's done, I'm going to be like, just gone.
Yeah, and especially with nothing going on. Usually there's one or two sort of rumblings on, but the fact that there's a game going on means that we're not getting the complete stories from reporters, and that's obviously where we get the stories from. How long more? About this stream or the game? Because I think there's 15 minutes left of the game.
15 minutes left in the game, yeah.
And then, I mean, of this stream, I suppose if there's nothing going on, and we'll hear it from the reporter saying, well, they'll confirm whether there is or not. I suppose that's that. My bedtime. I'm up at 5 a.m.
Same here. I'm up at 5 tomorrow. I've got to go to Wales tomorrow.
Wales?
Yeah.
Who are you scouting?
I'm taking Sorba Thomas home.
Take me for a day out.
Yeah. Him and Hedges. They're going to pass me the sweets. But there's not much actually happening transfer-wise generally. I mean, Sky Sports are making a big hype of this all day, and there's hardly anything.
It's like, this is like, the comparison is like New Year's Eve. I think it's the most overrated day in football, whereas New Year's Eve is probably the most overrated day in terms of... Matt Doherty's got a move to Atletico Madrid, by the way. Oh, how has he made that move?
That's having a good agent, that is.
Yeah, that's quality. Newcastle won, so they're going to Wembley. We're now going on other teams' news. That's how little there is to speak about Rovers. Back underway for the second half of extra time. Bottom lead 1-0. Teo Eden has come on for Harry Pickering. Matt Doherty to Atletico's a strange one.
See, Si Slater there, he's saying it's such a bad window to do business. It's so true. But, people want to keep their best players. So you're not going to get them for the best price that you can, especially when you're on a tight budget like us. And any players that are available, you've got to question. I mean, look at Sorba Thomas. The only reason we've got him is because he has a bit of a lull of the start of the season with Huddersfield, and they're wanting to find some form. It's very rare you're going to get a really, really good signing in January.
Yeah. Without
paying a premium. We paid a premium for Brereton before he came Diaz. We did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We paid over. I mean, I remember Forest absolutely rubbing their hands at that.
I think you just have to look at our friends over end at M65 and look at how much money they've thrown at both the summer window and this window. It was just like you were seeing every couple of days, 10 million here, 3 million there, 5 million here. It's just, it'd be nice to just be able to throw 10 million at somebody, and then if it doesn't work out, you go, oh well. But that's not the way it is.
It's a bit easier for Burnley to do that, though, isn't it? Because they're obviously 18 points ahead.
But I think that explains why they are where they are. They've thrown so much money at a new squad. They lost some big players in the summer, and they've just gone and thrown money at it. And it'd be nice to be able to do that, but like we've said for the past 2.5 hours, we can't do that as much as we may like to.
Benfica midfielder Enzo Fernandez is set to complete a record-breaking move to Chelsea after the two clubs reached agreement. I wonder how much, speaking of throwing money away, I wonder how much that would be. It's crazy, man.
It's a new record, isn't it? Isn't it a new Premier League record? Jeez.
If we win this, our reward is 120k. Better get running to the transfer market. Yeah, in about half an hour. Yeah, what would you even get for 120k now? Probably like a Wrexham player or something like that. Not even that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, would you prefer to be playing a game tonight or have lost Saturday and actually have everyone concentrating on the window? What would you prefer? Because let's be honest, chances are if we win this, we're going to go to Leicester, probably lose, right?
Yeah.
If we're being realistic. So what would you have preferred? Just have lost last week and have everyone sat concentrating on the window, or going having an extra cup run, having an extra evening playing?
It's a decent away day. I mean, it's quite far away, isn't it, for people living in Blackburn? It's quite difficult to get to Leicester, but other than it being a sort of a Premier League away day, I don't think there's any positive to this really, other than being.
To be honest, we're not in an awful position at the minute because we've got Greg Broughton dealing with transfers and JDT dealing with the team. We can do this. Like, we can, have a game going on at the same time as dealing with transfers. It doesn't have to be JDT doing both, because obviously he can't be on the phone dealing with transfers whilst he stood in the dugout. I mean, he could, but he probably wouldn't.
But I suppose there might have been players that he might have moved on. I don't know. I mean,
Greg could be dealing with God knows what, we don't know, because I think he's just hiding in a hole somewhere until it's all over, and then he can come out and say some words.
It's just a bit of a flat one, isn't it? Because you get excited. It's like Christmas. You get excited. You're going to get a new toy to play with. And then you realise that you're just getting in a few loan players, and it's like, oh, okay. So these are the toys you've got, but you might not be able to keep them at the end. It's like, oh, great.
So Ash Phillips has come on for Tyrese Dolan, so there must be a sort of a different changing setup right now. We've got.
I know, Elliot Bennett has just made a joke about Ash Phillips playing on the right wing.
Right. I wonder how the game has gone, to be honest with you, but it doesn't sound like a classic, does it, to be honest with you? Transfer deadline day hasn't been as good since Harry Redknapp retired it from management. It's a good point.
Yeah.
On the side of a car.
Jeez. Some say Peter Roddenwing is still in his car park outside QPR waiting to be signed.
Oh, do you remember that? That was mental.
That was embarrassing, that was. Yeah. Mate, park around the corner, keep your windows up, mate.
Come on. If you park around the corner, you'd still be in the Prem now. Peter Roddenwingy. Would you take him as a striker now? Speaking about strikers, because we still need him.
Now we'll win his prime. Now I'm pretty sure he's not going to be... He's not going to be sharp, but no, he was a good striker, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was obviously really good at West Brom. But West Brom had quite a decent squad at that point, didn't they?
Yeah, from what I remember, I think that was about 10 years ago. Let's have a look.
I think the exciting thing was when we had when we was in the Prem and we had the transfer days, you were going to get the randoms for Micahs and Carlos Villanueva was completely out of left field, and it was like a really exciting name. You just think, oh, fantastic! We're going to get some
culture.
We're going to get some culture in, and then you're not going to get that now.
Yeah, I think our days of signing exciting players are over for now.
Yeah, definitely. That Mullins from Wrexham looked good on Sunday. Yeah, Wrexham were unlucky not to get into the next round fully. Obviously, they've still got to play the replay, but it's a massive jump, isn't it? From
He stepped down, didn't he, to do it?
Yeah. Was he not like the top goal scorer in League Two and then went down to National League?
Was it?
It's still a massive jump, though, isn't it? Really, League Two to Championship never really works.
Yeah.
I mean,
at this point, though, we'd take him.
I mean, we say it, but like you look at Sorba Thomas, he went from non-league football straight to Championship football, and that's a
you just never know, do you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Ryan Edwards there saying, where are all these hidden gems from Scandinavia? I don't feel like you get hidden gems anymore. With social media, with all these football games and stuff, people know who they are now. You don't, back in the day, you used to be able to go to Norway, grab Morten Gamst Pedersen, bring him back, and suddenly you've got a world-class left midfielder. If you needed a centre-back, you went up to Scotland, grabbed the biggest brute you could in Colin Hendry, drag him down, and suddenly he was a legend. You can't do that anymore. Like, the world's a small place. Everyone knows everyone at 14. They know who's going to be big. I mean, is it Hendrick, who's 16 from Brazil?
Yeah.
And they're talking about him being a £50 million player. It's like, mate, what was you doing at 16? I mean, it wasn't long ago for you, but jeez. And it's like there's no hidden gems anymore.
No, because
you look at like Mike just said, you look at like getting Morten Gamst Pedersen. It's like finding someone that can play like that now. Like I said, it just doesn't happen.
Well, it's like the work permit thing there. From someone. That's true.
Literally someone. Yeah. You need to be over a certain.
Yeah.
You need to be over a certain wage, don't you? And in the Championship, you struggle to meet that requirement. So you have to be quiet. You have to have a bit of nous about it.
I mean, we don't have the most diverse team as it is, but we're not going to be able to get that kind of squad together in the Championship.
No. Have we got Messi yet? Scott, have we got any news on Messi?
No news on Messi, I'm afraid.
He says he's not good enough to play with Sam Gallagher.
No news on Messi, but Travis has received the yellow card.
Yeah, I've seen that Travis had a 40-yard shot.
Yeah, attempted lob from 40 yards out. Goes well wide.
Attempted pass. Yeah, exactly. Let's not be naive.
The Lewandowski one, Chris Kershaw there. The Lewandowski one was mad, wasn't it? That's a sliding doors moment, that one. Not getting... Yeah. It's the Zidane one that makes me laugh. What do you need Zidane for when you've got Tim Sherwood? I mean, that's always the classic one, isn't it? Nearly got Zidane, nearly got Lewandowski. I mean, it's crazy. And now we're getting Sorba Thomas on loan from Huddersfield and getting excited about it. It's a crazy world we live in, boys.
You've seen it all. You've seen the heyday, the League One days.
Yeah. I mean, we were Division 2 when I started supporting them. And like I said, I don't deserve to see us win anything again. I think I've seen the heights of our club now, but we live in hope.
Well, without winning the Champions League, I don't think you can get any higher, can you? Really, unless Blackburn somehow make it to the World Cup.
Still no news on any action going out either.
Okay.
I don't think we've got anyone to get rid of, have we?
Well, apart from Dylan Moitande, who's apparently in Scotland having a medical.
I'll be disappointed if he goes to Aberdeen on loan. That'll disappoint me.
What's a medical in Scotland like? Just can't imagine it being.
Yeah, can you eat the battered Mars bar as quick as you can? I'd be disappointed if Markandale went to Aberdeen. I think I'd prefer to see him.
I think I prefer to see him in the EFL than in Scotland.
Yeah, I'd prefer him to be in League One than because at least you can get him coming back to train with the lads and stuff. I think Aberdeen. I mean, I've been to Aberdeen in the drive. It's a 9-hour drive for me, and it's not exactly the most energetic place. And he's in Scottish football, which it's not exactly fantastic, is it?
Things to do in Aberdeen. Okay. There's an art gallery that Dylan can do during the week. If anyone has any ideas what to do in Aberdeen, you can go for a whiskey tour. Leave, yeah. A few castles and that.
We're coming into the last minute of extra time, still winning 1-0. Birmingham on the attack, but they seem to be just passing it around a little bit.
If we're not going to sign anyone else, I'd rather Markandé stayed. I would have liked to see Markandé at Blackpool, Wigan. Yeah, lower Championship or high League One probably. It's probably his standard actually. To be fair, I think it's just because we're so high up in the league that he's not getting as much time as we would have liked, because he has shown signs of brilliance and signs of energy, I suppose is the right word. Like I said, the Rotherham game where he was the only bright spot, because it sort of sums up his game really. But yeah, he needs time. But up in Aberdeen, it's going to be cold.
So Stephen Mason, they're saying the loan window's open, isn't it? Because the loan window doesn't close yet, does it? They didn't change that, or did they?
Not too sure on that one. I think that
wasn't there a change in rules?
Was
not long ago. I can't remember, because it used to be the loan window was a few days after, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. You could in stuff like emergency loans you can do whenever you need to for goalkeepers. But so we've got like a minute left now of the game.
2 minutes injury time. Well, it's about minute 30 left, but we're on the attack here.
Brereton just had a penalty appeal waved away.
Seems to have won a game now, doesn't he?
He's turned a bit whingy, hasn't he?
He's getting ready for Spain.
Yeah.
So we've got
Peter O'Rourke says that midfielder Lewis O'Brien has passed his medical at Blackburn ahead of his loan move, with the deal set to go through before the transfer window closes. And that's Peter O'Rourke, sports journalist.
They're going to get the fax machine on.
What's that?
They're going to get the fax machine out.
Yeah.
So we've just had a comment there about the Scottish Premiership clubs are higher quality than most of the Championship. So I've watched quite a lot of Scottish football because it was always on TV on BT Sport when I was watching. And yeah, it's probably true. But what about the rest of them? They're absolutely dog rough. So he's just going to be playing against awful teams.
Look, I think it's more of a. You think the EFL League One is a similar culture to the Championship, whereas going to a different country, even if it is Scotland, is a different way of playing, isn't it? Obviously. So would you rather him perform in the EFL with the system that they've got there, or would you want him in a different culture? But yeah, the top 5 or 6 are still, you'd still say that they are Championship quality. What does it say? Forest signing yet another player. Have they signed another player?
Can we sign the young guy with the white headphones on as a striker? And that means you, Dom. No, he's not old enough.
Under 18s, do you reckon?
He can play under 16s.
Under 16s.
Just for your information, John Buckley has been named Elliot Bennett's man of the match, with a special mention for Ainsley Pearce.
And we've won, boys.
We've won. And also, I can't play as a striker. I don't want to show him up. It's not fair on the other players at the end of the day.
No.
So yeah, eventually Blackburn have won the game. We have won the game, and that is the watch along part that we couldn't find the watch along for of this.
We'll do it next time for a more popular game.
One that's on Sky. You could do the Wigan game.
So now that we know that we've won, what do you think the score will be against Leicester?
I really hope it's not a 0-0 again.
Leicester are good, aren't they? I mean, they're better than us. So at home, are they going to play their strongest side? Probably not. They'll probably rotate a little bit.
Where are they in the Premier League?
Just
look at that. Are they part of the bottom pack? So Leicester are in 14th.
They've lost their last 4 games.
And when do we play them?
They've drawn their last 4 before that. But let's be honest, I mean, they're still a Prem side, aren't they?
Does this not mean that... I think I read something saying that the Burnley game gets rearranged now because we won.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Is it like a week later or something? Because there's rumours that they could win it at Ewood Park if it all figures out, which is horrendous to even think about. We won't ever hear anything other than that, won't we? The Lewis O'Brien is all sorted, like we said about an hour and a half ago, maybe an hour ago. Blackburn have won the game 1-0, and we're still on for another 40 minutes or so. But I have been sat here drinking water, so I need to just have to
turn your microphone off. Yeah, so there's a few people in the comments saying about
at least it didn't fall off this time.
So a few people are saying in the chat about Leicester being more bothered about the Premier League. I mean, you've got to say it is close down there. I mean, they've won the FA Cup recently. They've won the Premier League recently. Are they bothered about a cup run? Actually, we could be right here, and they could actually play. But if you look at their squad, they can play a reserve side that could obviously do a job. And we don't know where we're going to be at. Are we going to be at a point where actually we don't want to risk our starters? But I mean, like people are saying, it's worth a bit of money here. Yeah,
I think anyone who's sat there thinking that we're going to go and win the FA Cup is getting their head in a bit of dreamland. But I think you've just got to. Normally, I would say it doesn't really matter, but we get into the higher stages now. You're getting, the chances to win, a considerable amount of money when you've not got any. Just winning one game could buy you a player. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And I think if you can win that one game and then buy yourself a player, then you should absolutely do that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have been saying, I think it's more a case of going into the running of the club
Any news?
Than anything else.
Breaking news, Dom.
Say that again?
Breaking news.
Oh, go on.
Your mic didn't fall off this time.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to hold it in your hand again.
That was horrendous. That was awful. I spent about half an hour just thinking I was on Pop Idol.
But I mean, you look at the fifth round draw. So we've got Leicester, then you've got obviously quite a few big teams in there. We're not going to make a run to Wembley, but Leicester are obviously going to be playing their second. So yeah, I mean, so it's 1st of March. We're due to play them apparently. No,
1st of March.
Yeah, 1st of March. So they could be still embroiled in a bit of a relegation fight, or they could be out of it. Who knows?
You'd think they would be. I don't think they'd prioritise FA Cup over Premier League survival.
I mean, we could do a Millwall and have just an absolute mad run, but I don't think we will.
So I think Leicester beat Walsall, didn't they, in the last round? And they won 1-0. Kevin says that looking at Leicester last round, they played very strong first teams up against. They're probably going to do the same thing. Yeah, probably the same vein as us. If you want to keep momentum going, it's probably the right thing to do it. He also, Ryan said that it would be nice to get Europa League next season. Yeah, definitely. Now we're just sort of waiting on any sort of news from reporters. I'm sure they'll be writing up the notes from the game. Dan had to watch 120 minutes of that sober. So
imagine them fans now, like Dan having to travel back, on a Tuesday night. You got fair play to them. Fair play to them.
Alexander says after tonight, Leicester will be fearing us. Absolutely, I think that we beat, like I said, we beat West Ham in the Cup.
That's when we was playing our best, though. To be fair, I know we put out a relatively, slightly different side, but we were playing pretty well when we came to play West Ham, weren't we?
Yeah. Even with the second string side. The Enzo Fernandez is 105 million, by the way.
Jeez. You could buy Blackburn 10 times over for that, couldn't you?
You can buy at least half a Gallagher.
Buys that right foot.
Yeah, man. So you two don't really like him, do you? I don't actually mind him, to be fair. I don't think he's necessarily.
I don't think it's not that I don't like him. It's that I think for what he should offer, he doesn't offer what he should. Like, he's tall and doesn't score any headers, and it's like.
Yeah, you're 6'2".
6'2", and can't score a header. And even when he gets in positions where he should be scoring, he's not. He's like, I think I put on Twitter that he couldn't hit a barn door, and I stand by that because, I think he had a shot on goal. I think it was an attempted header actually. And it had been blown offside, and this attempted header just went like miles over the bar, and somebody put he can't even score when not everyone else has stopped playing.
That was me. Yeah, yeah, I said that to you. It's like it was unreal. I mean, it's literally everyone had stopped playing. He's gone to shoot, and he's put it so far high over the bar. It's not even funny.
It's not that I don't like him; it's that I don't rate him as a striker. I don't think he adds enough threat going forward to really be considered a striker.
A lot of people are saying there, we need goals, and that's what they do. That's what he should do, isn't it?
I think when he came on loan, I think he scored 12 goals in that season. And he's never replicated that since.
No, he's never got close, has he? I think
he's never even come close.
And you could say it's because we play tactics that don't suit him. I mean, he does seem like the kind of guy that you just stick in the box and let him cause issues. And if he's just knocking them down to other people, that's fine. But he's not getting assists. He's not getting goals. So what's he doing? That's for me the long and short of it. We went through the squad and started going through who's Prem, who's top Championship, and so on. I genuinely think he is not even Championship level anymore. Whether it's confidence or whatever, I think he would need to drop down into League One. I think League One would be his level. And I could be completely wrong, and people could have a go at me for it, but I just don't think he's that level. I think we put in our chat about Jack Vale. you know, someone was saying, well, Jack Vale is very similar to Gallagher. Well, yeah, maybe, but Jack Vale has a career ahead of him. Gallagher's got, we've got a lot of proof now of what Gallagher can and can't do. Vale can still develop. Leonard can still develop. So I'm like, okay, well, if I want a big guy that's just going to run around, well, you could pay me to do that if you want, but, you know, get Jack Vale doing it, you know, why not?
Yeah, if this is his peak, then it's worrying for the rest of his career, because obviously he is probably at his peak age. Yeah, it's just very, very frustrating, because we know the qualities he has, which is his athleticism and his work rate, but that can only take you so far, can't it? Rich Sharper said, now that the game is done, it should be time for some announcements, so we get be on the lookout for those, I suppose, in the next half an hour or so.
So Pears deserves a run in the first team, yeah, probably.
This is where Don will furiously refresh Twitter.
Yeah, I've been doing that for the last 3 hours, to be fair. just to see that Travis has been booked or something. It's been brilliant.
So Ryan said that he isn't League One. That's just after. Does that mean you think he's League Two then?
It was better when he had his bald hez.
I don't know what he's trying to say there.
Right, mate, get off the sauce. Fair play, lads. Still here. Yeah, we.
I'm
just
going in a minute. To be fair, Mr. Collier, I'm going in a sec. I've got to polish my head for tomorrow.
Yeah, the game's done, and the John Motson type head word, needs to retire for the night, probably, doesn't it? If you watch that really interesting game, so you deserve it.
I watched Bet 365
and a bit of Union.
Me.
I mean,
who's going to fall asleep first, guys? Me.
3 hours. 3 hours of live streaming. What's the what are the key moments of the past 3 hours?
Oh, talking about Aberdeen, that was pretty fun.
What would Undav have at McDonald's? That was a key. That was edge of the seat stuff. That was.
You have to understand all the law to get that sort of get that statement. Probably
Mike forever being known as headset guy now.
I know. The thing is, I was actually going to not wear these again because I've got some of the headset. I was going to some earphones like what you guys are wearing. But now I think if I do it, people are going to think I'm, I've got a name now. I might have to go with that.
Yeah, it's part of your aesthetic now. Even if it's not connected to anything, you're gonna have to.
People are gonna think I haven't got ears, but I have got ears.
Whoa, no, you shouldn't be selling that for free.
People are gonna think I'm like King Charles, and these big things were just gonna explode out.
Yeah.
Right, I think I'm gonna go, guys.
No worries, mate.
Everyone watching, cheers for watching. I'll let you guys all finish up, and when I wake up, hopefully we've got Formica and Vid and Wave assigned.
Yeah, we'll let you know if Messi turns up at Brockhall.
Nice one. Cheers all. See you in a bit.
Expected that his taxi's running late.
Cheers, headset guy. So down to 2 of us. Yeah. We do apologise, guys, for the lack of updates, obviously, because of the because of the game. Essentially, it takes priority, and it's been a long 3 hours. We usually get guests on and people, like there's usually at least another 2 or 3 people to refresh the sort of the brain cells, essentially. But tonight you've had the luxury of having us 3, so I don't know whether to apologise or what, but we're still here, we're still kicking. This is fast asleep, pissed up, half-eaten takeaway, more like, yeah. Oh, what takeaway did you get? Let's get that news in there.
Another key moment coming.
Well, yeah, it's a Tuesday night. You can't have anything heavy, can you? Really? You're thinking more like I don't know what sort of takeaway would you get? That's like sort of.
I had a great takeaway the other night.
What did you get?
It was like steak fillet with rice and salad and chips.
That sounds like a gourmet meal more than a.
It came in a square foil tin.
Nice.
Very gourmet. You know, it's gourmet when it comes in a square foil tin.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't come in a greasy bag, does it? It's gonna. If it comes in a tin, you're more than happy. Like, I'll be buzzing at that. Ollie says, if we don't get a striker this window, we need to mix things up top. Don't know why Diaz isn't playing in the central role. It seemed to work well, didn't it, last season when they were just the two up top. We've had a couple of people there agreeing with you as well, Ollie. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, it worked up top well last season, didn't it? So I don't know the reason why he's been hugging that wing, because recently he hasn't, like we've said in the past 3 hours, we've gone through a lot of different people, different tactics, systems, and we think that he's dropped off a little bit recently, going back to almost his Ben Brereton days rather than Ben Brereton Diaz. Steve Mason says chips, cheese, and gravy. Do you like chips, cheese, and gravy?
Well, I don't eat cheese, so that's an out for me.
You don't eat cheese? You eat lactose? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, missing out.
It's out for me, unfortunately.
Tobias said, just got online. Do we have any kind of news for England players? We don't. We have the snippet of Undav from the forums, but I'm not too sure if that's there's any concrete behind that. Obviously, Lewis O'Brien, the medical has happened. We're just waiting for the confirmation on the paperwork. I'm sure it'll be done by the time by the time the clock ticks down. Mad Dog says, I had a doner kebab with garlic mayo last Wednesday. I'm assuming it had all these sort of salad dressings on it and stuff like that, because, you know, garlic mayo as well. I think I'm more of a garlic mayo with chili as well. You know, you got to mix up a little bit.
I'm a strictly garlic mayo person, me.
Yeah. You're not into any heat?
No, not really.
So do you not like going for like an Indian or a...
Do you know what? I actually can't stand the smell of Indian food.
It's a good thing you said Indian food, then it could have gone very, very south very quickly. Really, that's a surprise, to be fair. I love it personally. I prefer going in rather than a takeaway personally, but if I was going to have a takeaway, it would probably actually, you know what, it's probably going to be a pizza for me. We sigh Phil Jones, not just sign. So no rumours beyond Undav. No, I think that we'll find out because of the nature of the night, how it's gone. The game has taken priority. Obviously, we had looked at Steve Cook earlier in the day. We've had a few players over
There were 3 unnamed strikers being looked at, but still no names on any of them or any idea if they're close or not.
Yeah, and we've got 22 minutes, so until Dan or Elliot Jackson or anybody who's a reporter linked with Blackburn can come with some concrete rumours or concrete players, then we're sort of left in the dark a little bit as well. So let's see. Thomas Bebbington, sorry. Take Rhodes back.
I think you possibly. I wouldn't say no at this stage. But I'm not sure how realistic it is. Whether, you know, I don't know what wages he's on now. I don't know if it would be feasible. But
Yeah, I think if we're speaking about
if the opportunity came round and it was feasible and realistic, then I definitely wouldn't say no, because Jordan Rhodes he's like Bradley Dack, isn't he? He knows where to be when to be there. It's a positional thing, and you can't teach it. It's just he knows how to do it, and he'll do it well. If you can get the ball to him.
So do you not think that Rhodes has had his day now? Do you think if he came back, it would almost ruin his the way that Rovers fans view him? Maybe he doesn't seem to be getting in at Huddersfield, and they've been really caught it nicely.
I think that's always a gamble when a player returns to a club that they've done well at. But I suppose you look at it. The same could have been said for Dunny when he went to Birmingham. When Dunny came back, people could have said, like, could it ruin how we see him? And I suppose you could say that for every player that returns to a previous club. It's always a gamble, but I don't think Jordan ever. I think his best time was here.
Yeah,
and I think, whether he would suit what we were trying to do, I don't know. It seems like obviously bringing in Sorba Thomas, we're trying to play from out wide and looking to put balls into the box, and I think Jordan sort of thrives on that. So I think that could possibly work out well, because it was back when Jordan was here. It was obviously Craig Conway and that feeding in the goals, and I don't think it would be a bad signing. I definitely think it would be an improvement on what we've got. It would definitely be an improvement on George Hurst. So you can't get away worse, can it?
Well, yeah, that's true with George Hurst, and it's a shame really, because if he scored that goal against Cardiff, then it would be a different story. So Dunn was different. He was a fan and gave it all. Look at Rocky. He came back. He didn't score a single goal. That's exactly what I thought as well. Rocky Santa Cruz, when he came back, wasn't anywhere near in terms of confidence, in terms of quality for Blackburn, and it's sort of people forget he even came back in that season. Didn't really do much, did he, in that? Thoughts on another top cup? The top cup victory. Played really well, following on form and improved. It's been a long day. Performance on Saturday. Big shout out to the brilliant fans who made it to St Andrews. Yeah, and absolutely 547, I believe, fans went to. Yeah, credit to them. Short notice down the M6 to quite frankly a stadium that's in need of a lot of repair.
It's from everything I've read and heard, and it definitely seems like it was a game that you could tell these two sides played each other 3 days ago. You could definitely tell.
Yeah, the 0-0 was very drab, wasn't it? To put it nicely. It's another. It keeps us still in the cup. It's nice to still be involved. Obviously, the weekends where there's a cup game and we've not been involved after round 3 in the last 5 seasons has been pretty depressing, to be honest with you. So it's nice just to still be in there. I think the last time we were in round 5 was under Coyle when we lost to Man United at home. But yeah, other than that, it's just nice. Michael has said that Ogbeni from Rotherham has been linked. Intrigued to see where you've got that from, to be honest with you. I haven't seen much in terms of Ogbeni. That would be a decent signing, though. Obviously, he's been linked with a few sides in the Championship. So look, don't think we've got anything in terms of from Sharp, which is the main source. Anyone else been linked apart from O'Brien? We've had rumours on, well, just recently, just in this last second, of Ogbeni, but I'm not too sure how concrete that rumours are, as well as Undav from Brighton. He seems to be back on from the forums. So again, we're sort of clutching at straws a little bit, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just a constant refresh and trying to figure out where we're going from there. Obviously, the Blackburn game tonight, and I've said this a few times already today, in this 3 hours and 14 minutes, that if the Blackburn game wasn't happening today, that we would have a lot of people on, a lot more refreshing in people, you know, just to, you know, have a break. Essentially, we would have probably a couple of reporters on as well to talk about the behind the scenes a bit more, which is what happens in the past. So hopefully the summer one will be back to that sort of situation. But obviously now that we're here, you know, we're doing the best that we can. And obviously the watch along was a nightmare as well, because we couldn't find any watch along. So we've had a lot of topics today gone through.
Watch along that we couldn't watch.
Yeah, we watched it on 2D on the Bet365. My uncle is mates with Steve Cook, and he said the decision was made at 4 p.m. to stay at Forest. Yeah, that one was pretty. It was a pretty quick yes and then no, wasn't it? I don't think there was much in terms of validity over the Blackburn link, but I'm not too sure we need a centre back now as well. I think centre back is probably the position that we probably don't really need. I think we've got Ash Phillips, we've got Carter, Wharton, Ayala, Hyam. You know, there's a lot there. Vote's going to happen with Rovers, I bet. I'm not too sure what that means. Boat's going to happen. Yeah. Let me just figure out something.
Just been looking through the latest on Sky Sports. No mention of anything since about an hour ago. Just saying
In
that
terms of
the O'Brien deal was close, yeah.
Yeah. And the O'Brien one is an amazing coup, isn't it? It's an amazing signing. I think, like I said previously, I think he was the best centre midfielder in the league last season. I think he did get in the Championship team of the season as well. Forest did well to buy him, and obviously they bought 50 players, didn't they? So it's nice to get a couple of those, or a bit linked with a couple of them. And I think he definitely does improve this squad, whether it's in a 2 or a 3 in midfield. I think he has the quality of all of our centre mids and more. So it only helps us out more. We'll just briefly speak about him again. Obviously, 24 years old, on a 4-year contract, as well as the fact that he has an option to buy for 10 million if we do go up next season. Left-footed, actually, which is quite surprising. I didn't actually know that. Yeah, he can play a number of positions in the centre midfield role, and then obviously we've got yeah, and also we got Sober Thomas on a loan as well. I don't believe there is an option to buy after it as well. His contract expires, it says, in 2023, which is false. Well, for Blackburn it is. He signed a contract in May, and yeah, the Undav is a maybe, if what I've just seen, by the way. So there is a little bit of concrete behind the Undav deal. Obviously, it would be a striker that we need right now. Obviously, everyone and their dogs knows that Blackburn need a striker right now, but a lot of people know that. Just seen something about Aberdeen in the chat, who said top 6 of Scottish Premier is better than Championship quality. Aberdeen captain about to sign for MK Dons, and then there was something about Aberdeen being 7th. Yeah, I think for the most part, the Celtic and Rangers are obviously Championship quality or more, and then the rest of them probably are Championship quality until you get to the bottom 4 or 5 in the league. But it's all, you know, it's difficult to compare, isn't it? what's going on with the Undav deal? Apparently, it's back on. Yeah, apparently, there is some rumours that the Undav deal is a maybe at the minute. That's what I've got with me right now. Would Undav be a good signing? Let's have a look at his dealings. He obviously was in the Belgium league last season. Dennis Undav, isn't it? Dennis Undav. He is 26 years old. He for Union Saint what's it called? Saint Galois. He played 68 times, scoring 45. He's played 13 times for Brighton, scoring 2. I think any striker right now would be a good signing of that quality, and it must have broken down, to be honest with you, the Undav deal to a European squad because, well, it's back on. Apparently, there is an under-21 signing, not confirmed, but in the rumblings. Not too sure on that one as well, to be honest with you. I think that the signing of Thomas, they might move Diaz up front. Yeah, you might be right with that one. If we don't get this Undav one and Thomas is on the wing, we've got Ryan Hedges, we've got Thomas, we've got Dolan as well on the wings. Markande, if he doesn't go to Aberdeen, we've got a lot of wingers there, and I think that locking Diaz up top would be ideal because obviously, like we've said, and Scott thinks that Gallagher probably isn't up to the standard of the Championship right now. I disagree slightly. I think he is, but I think he just needs a bit of confidence in him. But yeah, having Diaz up top will be a solution. It's almost like a square peg in a round hole, but
I think we've just got to. I think we've just got to like see what we get. Obviously, the ideal scenario would be to get a striker in. That's the ideal scenario.
yeah.
Failing that, I think we've got to where we are now. Off what we've got, I think we're more than capable of. I think it will just be about grit and determination as to whether we can hold out. We've just got to carry on being clinical with our chances, which we haven't been in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's let us down. Obviously, the chances have been there. We've just got to carry on being as clinical as we can.
Yeah, you can see there's a foundation, isn't there, that's bubbling down below, isn't there, of a good team right now. And let's not forget, we're still in the playoff scene, and the playoff picture could also go, off the boil like within 2 games. But the fact that we're still here with the amount of games that we have been poor, but let's not forget that we've been good in a lot of games as well. So there is a good foundation there. It's just
the
applying
latest news is about Daniel Ayala, who was taken off due to a foot injury.
A foot injury. It's quite vital in football to not have a foot injury, isn't it? Yeah, it depends if like you said before, he's a bit more of a non-nonsense centre back, so maybe he doesn't need his feet, he just needs his head. Now Steve says Brighton have some cracking players. Undav would be better to play regular elsewhere on loan. I think the issue that Brighton have right now isn't to do with the amount of players that they've got ahead of him. It's that they have currently got 7 players out on loan, and the limit is 8. So I think it's more of a case of that, as well as the fact that there's just the logistics over that. I don't think there's any other issue in terms of that. But it might get to a stage where it's 10 minutes before. Even now, we're 7 minutes before. And yeah, it depends when they did the deal, because obviously the reporters have been at the game. Someone, the actual name, people forget we're in the playoffs, and when our main source of goals hasn't been on form. If Brereton starts firing, it'll be a massive boost. Dak and Diaz firing both at the same time. Yeah, I think that Dak coming in at the right time is perfect. It's just been perfect for him. I don't know where we'd be in the league right now without Dak, to be honest with you, because of the dip in form that Diaz has had recently. And you can't expect him to be scoring every other game for a long period of time. But it's good to see Dak back. And yeah, hopefully if they both can get firing, then we've got something.
Question for you, Dom.
Yes.
Talking of O'Brien, do you think it's a clever move, you know, putting that potential option to buy in with the clause of saying if we go up?
Yeah, because I think the likelihood if we do go up, that means that Lewis O'Brien has been a good signing. Because he's been one of the only 2 additions so far, and quite frankly, if we haven't made these additions, then I don't think we would have made it into the playoffs. I think these 2 signings that we've made so far, hopefully they've got 5 minutes to go, and well, quite frankly, there's nothing in terms of updates. If we were going to go up, I think that it's because of these signings, and yeah, the 10 million for what it's worth in the Premier League, because you get 120, 140, 50 million is vital. And I just think it's a very low risk, isn't it? I don't think there's much in terms of 10 million's nothing, isn't it?
I've just read a tweet that did make me laugh. It says 10 million if we go up. Waggett will be invading the pitch at Wembley trying to tackle Dak. It made me laugh.
That's an interesting point. Do you think if we got promoted, then Dak would sign a contract? Like, would we give him a contract?
I think he would sign a contract anyway. I think because he has.
Do you think we'd offer it? Like, do you think they would offer him?
I'd like to think we'd offer him a contract anyway.
In an ideal world, yeah. Didn't that young striker at Brighton get injured when Fabinho done him as well? Might have something to do with it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a horrendous challenge, and we all knew that he should have got sent off in that moment, but he didn't. Have you seen the challenge?
I've not seen the challenge. I've seen some stills of it from apparently a VAR error or something.
Yeah, I cannot believe that it hasn't sent him off, to be honest with you. But yeah, that could have had something to do with it, because obviously he came on against Liverpool later on in the game as a replacement for Evan Ferguson, I think his name is, youngster at Brighton. So maybe he's fit again, and Undav is. I think, yeah. Now, Paul said that I would love to have Van Heck back to make the defence stronger. I think he's in the same vein as Undav. We'd have to buy him outright though, because of his contractual situation. Obviously, it's up at the end of the season. Maybe we could get him in an ideal world, but I mean, we'd have to fork out quite a bit of money to get Van Heck, and I think if we were going to get him this season, it would have been at the start. Naive Steve said we've been waiting 30 days to sign a striker. Is it going to happen in the next 3 minutes? Not minutes. Yeah.
So there's a quote here from JDT. He says, "There's nothing official yet. To be honest, I can't really give you a good answer. There's a few minutes left until I can give a good evaluation on the transfer window. The transfers are not my responsibility. I'm training the group so I can give you a good idea on the performance, which was excellent. You need players in the building officially signed and done before you can go on," which is, of course, what we've been saying all night for the past 3.5 hours. You know, I think it highlights, everyone asks JDT transfers, and like he says, it's not his responsibility. It's that responsibility obviously lies in the hands of Greg Broughton, which, who very cleverly, and I'm sure with great purpose, stays as far away from the media as he can. sure he does it on purpose.
So essentially, we've had 3.5 hours on an own goal that happened in the 110th minute, or 100th minute, and
3.5 hours on
a
headset guy and you know what Undad gets from McDonald's.
Yeah, man. Honestly, what would you get from McDonald's then? Do you not go to McDonald's?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I did like a Big Mac, but I
tell you
tend
what's
to
now
to go for a quarter pounder.
That quarter pounder. That's not. To be honest, I don't think I've ever had a quarter pounder from there. I'm more on the chicken side of it, to be fair. But I'll tell you what's overrated. That McCrispy.
I've heard that.
It's just extremely dry, it replaced the Chicken Legend, which is probably the best thing on the menu. I'm fuming over that. I need to. That's why I think this.
Apparently, it looks dead big on the pictures, and then it's really small.
No, it's like it's tiny. It's just like a normal size sort of thing. To be fair, we're at 11 o'clock. By the way,
Yeah,
we're at 11 o'clock. There's no news, nothing. You think there'd be a sniff of something? Not even anything from the forums. Not anything from JDT.
So obviously now officially the window has shut. So
okay. Well, has there been anything? Has there been absolutely anything? And we'll stay on for a bit longer, guys. I don't know about you, Scott. If you need to shoot off, you can do.
No, I'm good.
Oh God, it's been yeah. No, not every team can be like Chelsea. To be fair, until the Venkies loosen their purse strings, we can stop giving away talented players. When their contract ends, we aren't going anywhere. I'm guessing this is in regards to Brereton Diaz. In hindsight, yeah, we would have given him the contract, but one good half a season, and then followed up with another good season, and then at that point he was already being touted. So it's just unlucky on our behalf, I think. Good foresight potentially would have helped, but at the time it wasn't up for it, were he? So yeah, it's just a difficult one. Rich Sharp has said it's 11 o'clock, but Rovers are far from done. So yeah, Modesta said that as well. Not even updates. Oh yeah, sorry, Scott. Can you get the Union Berlin game up? Did they win?
Can do that.
Because obviously, for the watch along, we would have had it, but
people are invested in this now. In
Union Berlin versus Wolfsburg. If you didn't guys know, on ESPN Plus we had the Blackburn game against Birmingham. However,
what were the score last time we knew?
2-1, I think.
Yeah, so it finished Union Berlin 2-1. 2-1.
Jesus. A quiet window for Rovers. You've summed it up perfectly. We've been talking for 3.5 hours and minutes. What about the loan window rules? I believe it goes on slightly longer, but I think in terms of getting it over getting the process over slightly more relaxed. But I think in terms of a deadline, I think it's similar. I think we'll carry on for another 10 or so minutes, guys. So if you want to ask anything, then we'll be up for it, because we're getting down to McDonald's orders now.
Next you'll be jumping on Just Eat, getting yourself.
At this point, McDonald's might even be closed. Like. It's quite vague, isn't it? It's 11 o'clock, but Rovers are far from done. O'Brien not confirmed, and JDT very non-committal. This is Rovers, boys. Yeah, you've pretty much nailed it on the head, haven't you? There.
I think I think what Rich is maybe indicating with that is that we're maybe obviously the window shuts at 11. We've only got to have the paperwork in before that. You know, they could have got the paperwork in at 10:59. They've then got to, you know, get the player, do all the media stuff, take all the photos, and obviously they're not going to get that done in 1 minute. So you know, it could just be something as simple as that, or there could be more to it. We just don't know. I think the only thing that anyone can do is wait.
Mr. Echo has said, "Are we loaning out Markande?" I think that is the belief that we are loaning him out to Aberdeen. There's again been nothing confirmed. There's been.
I'm just going to check Aberdeen's Twitter account now.
Okay. It's been emotional. Good night, guys. Well, we're still on for another 10 minutes, to be fair. Not just yet. Do you think Dak will sign a new contract with Rovers, given his resurgence? I think Dak will. I'm coming to the conclusion that I don't think they'll give him a contract, even though he's been performing well recently. You know, you could argue he has, but
I think you know, you got to offer him a contract, surely. But I think, you know,
so
he's already come out and said himself, you know, it'd be a no-brainer to extend his time at the club because he loves it here.
So Elliot Jackson, just off Lancs Live, has just done a quote tweet of a picture from Leeds where it says, "Don't go to bed just yet. There is work still to be done." And they could have told us this an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago. I suppose that's the way of Rovers, isn't it?
There is nothing official on Aberdeen's Twitter regarding Dylan Markande.
Yeah, that nothing like Rovers leaving late to the last minute, anxiety levels plus 100. Yeah, I swear, if it's all this and we've just decided to loan out at under 23s, and it's going to be pitchforks. Please, can you share how confident we are about the O'Brien rumours? Yeah, that one's pretty much nailed on. The medical has been done. It's just getting the paperwork done, which is, you know, it's just a case of getting the sort of the finer details. But I'm sure it's all been sorted. I'm very confident of that. Personally, but who can trust me, really? I think every Rovers fan right now is just refreshing Rich Sharp and Elliot Jackson's feed. We'll try and keep you all here as well. 70 people watching. Thank you for watching, by the way, guys. I know there's not much in terms of dealings going on, but we will give you the lowdown once we get it. Like we say before, the two signings that we've had so far are Sophie Thomas from Huddersfield on loan, which is a steal in itself. I don't know why Fotheringham doesn't rate him, because everybody else in the championship seems to do, but that's the reason why they're there. And again, Lewis O'Brien, who was at Huddersfield last season, he's from Nottingham Forest. Forgot the word then.
Oh, you were going to say Hull for a minute.
Hull. Yeah, there seems to be something going on in the background, whether it's Undav, whether it's somebody else that we don't know quite yet. Sorry, who is Peter O'Rourke has said it's pretty much done. Well, in terms of medical, Sky Sports as well. There's been a few reputable sources that have could have got Harvey Elliott. He's on fire. Well, yeah, I mean, we could also get Messi. Just come past Asda. Yeah. To be fair, I did say to Scott, I think I saw Messi outside the M65 McDonald's, which is why we were talking about it before. Wonder what Messi gets as a McDonald's order. Do you reckon he's ever had a McDonald's?
No.
I'm gonna Messi. No.
Have you ever had a foreign McDonald's?
Yeah. It's, I ate it from I had one in Italy, in Rome, and you can get a beer there, which is quite fun. Beer Moretti. But I accidentally pressed the dark one, so I got like a beer Moretti bitter. It was pretty much, it was like black tar. It was horrible. But yeah, I think I had one in Barcelona, and yeah, the chicken sandwich, it was like sour cream instead of salad-esque mayo. Wasn't nice at all.
Well, I had one in Portugal, and it was supposed to be like a sort of double cheeseburger thing.
Yeah.
But rather than putting the two burgers on top of each other, they put it in a long bun, side to side, so the two burgers were like side by side.
What, like a baguette, or like a so like it was like a long thing and then it's side by
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
What?
it
So
was
it's like
really bizarre.
Steve Mason, I had a supersize in New York, as in like the size, or is that an actual like place, supersize? I'm not too sure.
It means like a supersized McDonald's.
Oh right, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, if all this sort of hysteria is over just on Markande, Lawrence Aberdeen, and Rich Sharp says just getting everything in order. Ishmael says, how was Travis today? We tried to get a watch along, we failed to do so. However, we
apart from him getting a yellow card.
got a yellow card, and he had a shot from 40 yards. So have what you will.
We're still unsure whether it was an attempted pass or a shot.
Yeah, that isn't concrete either. We can't get anything concrete right now, which is what we've decided in the last 3 hours and 40 minutes. Kevin's never eaten McDonald's. To be fair, I didn't have McDonald's during the COVID, and I didn't miss it. And as soon as I had one back, I felt really ill after it. So, but I'm in my 20s. And I've grown up with McDonald's, so I'm not going to stop here, essentially. Intriguing, though, that you've been able to avoid McDonald's for ever. Almost living like a Amish. Let's get to the point where I'm going against the people now. Have you ever signed up to Just Eat sponsorship deal for the next video yet, lads? Oh, well, that would be amazing to do that. Do you Just Eat, have you heard the Australian version?
No.
It's called Menu Log over there. So like instead of like, did somebody say Just Eat? It's like, did somebody say Menu Log? Oh God. Or something like that. There's different names in different countries. My Man, a Legend comes with him. What? My Legend comes with him. Mum, every game, sound fella. All right, does he? I didn't know that actually. Sorry, it's been a long night. I struggle to read even after 5 minutes of a video. Never mind 3 hours and 40 minutes. What do you think about Sean Dyche going to Everton?
Come again.
Sean Dyche to Everton.
I think it's a good move.
McDonald's make great coffees. They do, to be fair. I think if I was going to go to a coffee place, though, it would be Starbucks, to be fair. We'll go for another 5 or so minutes, guys. So, yeah, there's been nothing other than sort of we're just almost waiting for like a Rich Shop update, to be honest with you. And at this point, yeah. We had a watch along with no watch along. Wiggins.
A read along.
A read along, yeah. It's essentially a 2D along. I've drank a lot of water. Kevin also says, yep, never had McDonald's, KFC, or Burger King. Rather have curry. Oh, right. So you've never had a fast food chain. That's mental. Fair play. That's great willpower. That I have none of.
Have you ever, when you go to McDonald's and you go through a drive-through and they tell you to pull up and park in a bay?
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered whether they're even still worthy of being called fast food then? If you're having to park up and wait for it.
Just food. He's just buying food. Yeah.
Average times food.
You should get a discount as well if you have to sit in a bay. Great coffees when they're not melting hot, perhaps.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you when you've ordered a McDonald's? Like, has it ever arrived in a really bad condition?
No, I mean it's at this point, like if it comes in a good condition, you're happy. I think. I once went to a place called Slim Chicken. There's one in the Trafford Centre, and I got a chicken burger, and it was meant to be like a boneless fillet or whatever, and it was just a bone. It was just like a chicken wing in a bun, so that was fun to bite into and nearly break my teeth. Steve has also asked, "What about pizza, Kevin?" Yeah, Kevin, this is reported. How can we go? Can we go towards a Pizza Hut? Is that what about a Domino's? I reckon Buckley keeps his place in the side. Yeah, with the Lewis O'Brien. So yeah, we're talking about football. With the Lewis O'Brien news, I think it probably pushes out one or two of the centre midfielders. Whether it's probably going to be Travis, isn't it? If you're thinking about it, or Garrett. Yeah, probably pushes him aside a little bit. I think Buckley's just ahead of them in the pecking order, to be honest with you. We'll give it to 20 past. And then, Kevin, you've never had a pizza either. But to be honest, I would probably, if I fancied pizza. So I'm guessing you've never had I mean, you're not really missing out with a pizza or a Domino's or a Papa John's or anything like that. You're probably better off going to like a local place for that sort of thing. Although the pizzas at Asda are very good as well. The create your own, they're really good.
My goodness. I think we're all in for a huge shock here.
Oh, yeah?
A certain host from a certain podcast that doesn't tend to say many positive things about us.
Okay.
Has said whoever does sign Lewis O'Brien from Forest has probably pulled off the signing of the window.
Yeah, probably right, to be fair. Yeah, you're definitely right.
I think that's the first time he's ever said anything that I could actually agree with.
Well, I think we all know who you're alluding to, but
I think we do.
Keep it, yeah. Rattles a few Rovers fans from time to time, but it's fine. It's his own opinion, and it's absolutely fine. And we've been going nearly 4 hours now, so I'm not going to say anything that I regret. But to be honest, the podcast is actually a decent listen. It's just as Rovers fans, it's not.
Just going back to the important topic at hand, which is obviously McDonald's.
Yeah.
One time when they were doing, when they do the Grand Big Macs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like me and a few friends had ordered some Grand Big Macs and had them. We basically went round in the drive-thru and then took them back home. And when we got there, opened the box, and it was as if they just grabbed all the ingredients for a Big Mac and just chucked it in the bottom and shook it up and then chucked a hand grenade in there just for good measure. It was awful.
Just a complete mess.
It was complete mess. And it it was like it was like a build your own Big Mac sort of situation. And so one of my friends decided to ring up the McDonald's and tell them that they weren't happy with this. And so they got the name put in a little book
Yeah.
where you could go and get a free McDonald's.
Oh, nice. That's all right. Like a McDonald's black card.
Yeah. You get your name put in a little book in the restaurant.
Wait, what's this saying? Oh, there we go. Appears to replace Kaminsky in next league match. I think we did definitely. There's been a lot of speaking, but yeah, we spoke about is he ready to replace Kaminsky, because obviously Kaminsky's form recently has gone down. It's sort of gone off a cliff, hasn't it, recently? But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, to be honest with you, if he does make it in the first 11.
Teams are starting to announce players, but not Rovers.
Not really. Wait, what? Oh, Siriki Dembele's gone to France on loan, so that's usually a player that we're usually linked with I think it's the last 2 windows, isn't it? We will probably sign off. One second.
Darlow has signed a deal with Hull.
Yeah.
On loan till the end of the season.
I reckon what's going to happen is we're going to sign off here, and then within 10 minutes, everything's going to happen. So it's just frustrating. This sort of like. Ooh,
I think what we should do is we should before we sign off, we should announce the departure of Dylan Markande in 10 minutes time, and then announce that Dylan Markande is not going anywhere for 10 minutes time as well, just in case.
Right. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do it now. Right. Ready to camera. Dylan Markande has left for Aberdeen on loan this season. He has gone to the Scottish side, who are currently 7th in the SPL. Credit to Markande for getting the move. However, he does need the time right now, and I don't think he could get it at Blackburn. So it's probably a good move for all involved, and I feel like Blackburn, Dylan, Aberdeen all have got a good deal out of it. Right. And then what do we do one for if he doesn't go?
No idea. I think
Dylan Markande, the move to look for Dylan Markande has through due to a medical condition of being too good for the SPL. It's a shame, really, because we would have liked to seen him in more game time right now. However, Dylan has decided that he wants to stay with Blackburn in this moment. Credit to him for trying to push into this Blackburn team where he's not had much time or much chances in the last few months. I can't even get the. I think that's a. I think that
too
is
much rambling for you, innit? Too much rambling in the space of 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm mentally checked out, I think, which is probably a good sign to sign off. Dylan is not like good relax. To be honest with you, I was just waffling. Don't take that as any sort of credibility. We're 4 hours into this now, and we've had no news, no watch long, but we are trying to stick with it. So yeah, if you haven't already, please can you go subscribe to the channel? No doubt in 5 minutes time we'll hear from Rich Sharp or Elliot Jackson or anybody reporting on Rovers about potential signings. So check it out on Twitter and Facebook and all the forums. So if you like I say, if you haven't already, can you go subscribe to the channel? It's been a pleasure, Scott, tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always fun coming on to do live streams and big live streams like this. Obviously, it can be mentally challenging at times, and sometimes there's not a lot to talk about. But
we got
hopefully, in the next 10 minutes, once we've gone off, everything will be announced and everyone will get the information that they so desperately want.
They want, they deserve, they've earned, and hopefully you all have, stick around for this waffle session. We do appreciate you sticking around, the 50 or so people that have been in and commented and made it what it is for the 4-ish hours. But yeah, if we will see you very soon. I did film a Lewis O'Brien video, which I thought was going to come out in the last 2 hours or so, but that should come out soon. I'm sure in the next couple of days we'll speak about different signings that we haven't spoke about on here, outgoings, incomings, and also the preview for the Wigan game at the weekend. And we will see you all very, very soon, like I say. So cheers, guys, and peace.